business by building infrastructure and reducing taxes. He's sorting out issues of unemployment.
That President Ruto is working and people are not seeing, or he's not working and people are seeing. There are only two options here for me. Because if you take a drive randomly in this city, 4-kilometer radius anywhere, you'll find something that the regime is doing.
We cannot all fit in the same opportunities. The government, as a government law iseme leo the youth wote wenye wako unemployed itupe kazi. Kuna wenye watafumble, kuna wenye hata make to reach to those jobs, kuna wenye hata appreciate your kazi.
What the opponents of the president have done is to send many mouths out there to talk ill and negative of the president.
Honorable Ndini Nyoro, in which clauses Mutumba taxes being increased?
Honorable Speaker, I am repeating for the 18th time. I am at no obligation to tell anyone anything other than debating, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, we are debating both the bill, but you're also debating the committee, Honorable Speaker. We cannot hide above and below semantics. Order! Order, Honorable members.
Honorable Speaker, I was saying the guidance you sought from Honorable Ndini Nyoro was on the clause that is taxing Mitumba in the bill or the proposal in the report of the committee that is proposing that. The chair has clarified that. And all that Honorable Ndini Nyoro is doing is now to throw words as the chair and the speaker, because he cannot substantiate.
Yes, good evening and a warm welcome to you from wherever you're watching from. My name is Tony Blair Onyango. Welcome to this week's episode of Face to Face with the Gen Z. And today we look at President William Ruto's regime 4 years down the line. When this government came into play, they promised certain things, certain promises to the people. And therefore we ask ourselves this question today: have those promises been delivered? Look at it from different lenses. From the health sector to the security to education to the creation of jobs for the young people. And with me in studio today are a group of Gen Zs who are going to help us analyze and evaluate the past 4 years. With me also is a panel that is going to help us unpack this today. So walk with me, join me as we give you this week's episode of Face to Face with the Gen Z. And at this moment I want to introduce my Gen Zs who are then going to help us understand how they feel about this current regime. So thank you so much for joining us, and in case you're watching for the first time, please make sure you subscribe, like, share and comment. Karibuni sana Gen Zs, welcome to REDRING. Feel at REDRING, sindio? And we say here we come to learn and relearn, sindio? So nikupatia nafasi, please introduce yourself, take your time, na utuambie umetoka wapi. But then also let us make it a bit interesting, sindio? Tuambie one principal secretary na state department yake, sindio? Na usirudia mwenzako. Naona mtu tayari anachukua mwenzake pale. So we can start from that extreme end to introduce you, and then I'll come to the panelists. Karibu Joshua.
Thank you so much. My name is Joshua Amani. I'm one of the youth leaders. I'm a national youth coordinator, Linda Mwananchi Young Patriots. To the PS, I only know PS Juma Muhwana, who is the PS for Trade and Industry.
Wow, congratulations. Tumklokie magai, sindio?
And he didn't say where he comes from.
Oh, where do you come from, Joshua? Tuambie mahali unatoka.
Sounds like Bungoma.
That is not
He sounds like Bungoma. I didn't confirm or deny.
Bungoma.
Sounds like my colleague.
Yes,
Thank you so much. My name is Odiwar Faith Acheng, a law student from the University of Nairobi and also an entrepreneur. I sell women's suits and also men's executive ties.
okay.
So if one of you or some of
Nice
you...
one. Kama easy.
Yeah, like those.
Okay.
And one of the PSs that I know is Beatrice Muganda. She's in charge of higher education. And the reason why I remember her is because of the new university's funding model, when she decided to cut 15% tuition fee for university students, and I'm benefiting from that.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much.
Tuna clock magai. Unajua ku clock. Asante sana. Very sharp.
I'm Andrew Mwoki Wambua, a student at the University of Nairobi. I come from Mboni, Makueni County. On the PS, I know PS Teresia Mbaika, the PS for aviation.
Asante sana. To clock. Leo mko sharp my guys, eh?
My name is Okeo Rose. I'm not a student, although I'm awaiting graduation. I'm a political scientist already, not a political science student. I'm also an aspiring policy analyst. One PS that I know is Oma Oluga, in charge of the State Department for Medical Affairs.
Wow. Top.
Praise the Lord.
Amen.
My name is Cecil Akinyi Akongo, a student at the University of Nairobi, pursuing Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Chinese Language.
Chinese?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Salimia na Chinese.
Ni hao. But the PS that I know is Rosalyn Njogu, PS for Diaspora Affairs. And I come from Bigori County, the land of Nyikwasi Nakuru.
Yes, Masaka.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm the famous Frederick Masaki. I'm the Kenyatta University student leader-elect under the School of Law, Arts and Social Sciences. Then I'm the Secretary General Linda Mwananchi Comrades Chapter.
Okay.
Yeah, the competent PS that I know is John Lekakeny Olol Tua, Principal Secretary, State Department of Basic Education.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Valerie Ndanu. I come from Machakos University. I'm pursuing Bachelor of Science Electrical Engineering. And the PS I know is Dr. Chris Kipto, PS for Treasury.
Wow. Bright students only.
Umechukua yangu.
Sharp.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, my name is Tim Lukodhiambo. I'm an entrepreneur, a business development consultant. A student, recently I've joined the Open University of Kenya. I'm pursuing leadership and integrity as a program. I know Regina Mbam, the PS, State Department for Trade. Thank you.
Asante sana. Umesahau kuclock my guys.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
I am Gracia Simbine Asiko. The first two names have been inherited from a very powerful woman in history. I am a student leader at the Technical University of Kenya, pursuing Bachelor of Quantity Surveying. I'm also a talented hairdresser and an upcoming activist for women and children's rights. One PS I know is PS Raymond Omolo.
Finally.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Grace, for that. What a portfolio to clock, my guys. Situji clap here because we've done very well. Naona mko na a lot of information, by the way, and the main reason we are doing that is because we have so many people watching, and part of what we have in this country ni kuna watu nyajui hizi vitu unaona. So at least mkijua hivyo, you know, this docket lies within hapa, kama kuna problem hapa, there is a person at least, ndio. Thank you so much for that. And at this moment nataka introduce panel yangu. Najua mmeinteract na wao a couple of times, so tutaanza hapa na Miss Joanne. Wao pia tuambie ma PSS, ndio. Ama wao wasituambie.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joan Onyango Bunga, economist, lawyer, policy analyst. The PS that I know, I'm a mother to Gen Zs. The PS I know is Abraham Korir Singwai. I think he does a good job.
Thank you so much. When you have to closely panelists. Asante sana. Next Joan is Advice Mundalo. Karibu sana.
Asante, my name is Bundalo Advice. I'm a political scientist. I'm a communication strategist. I run the TUTAMS Leadership Institute, where we basically do leadership training and consultancy. And I was just awarded last week as the leading voice in Kenya on governance and politics.
Yeah, I saw it. Niliona. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Under the Bobea Leadership Awards, and I'm sure part of what contributed to that is conversations that we have here.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful as well to REDRING Media. Yeah, so that's me. I'm a political animal. I have served in several dockets under the political space, but that is for your research. PSs that I know. Because I'm a young person, it's important that I say I know the PS of Youth Affairs, Fikirini Jacobs. And because I come from Western Kenya, it's important for me to say I know the PS for SME, Susan Mangeni. Thank you.
Hiyo tunamjua juu ya Nyota fans, ndio? Thanks so much Mundala. And then last but not least,
Oh yes, my name is Martin Ogindo, and a law student at the University of Nairobi.
Yay!
It's not a laughing matter. And I know many PSS, but you people have mentioned all of them. So I know PS Ambassador Bitok. Which state department? Huh?
Immigration.
Oh yes,
You can also mention a future PS, so you can just say my name.
Yeah, and I know future PS advice Mondalo, and
PS for what?
For
Interior.
And also Aliona Roslin. Why not?
The people have it.
Okay, then PS Juma.
Amani Joshua.
Yes. Yeah.
Why not Alionya? What's wrong with Alionya?
Guys, yani mko hivyo ni vibaya hivyo.
What's
Yeah,
wrong
so-
with Alionya?
Ni sawa tu.
Okay.
Ni sawa.
Thank you.
Ni sawa.
Tolerance.
Naona mmekuja sana magai. But thank you so much for that round of introductions. So we'll get right into it. Na venye tumesema hapa, we engage respectfully na you are allowed to challenge someone's opinion. Si lazima kubaliane na wao, si ndio? So we'll come to you. I'll get your thoughts. Alafu nitakuja kwa panel yangu pia wata respond. Some of the things zenye mtauliza maswali they'll also be able to answer, si ndio?
Yeah.
So this is your space, by the way. Speak confidently. Kuna pia watu wanataka kuwa in such spaces na wajafaulu, si ndio? And here we say ni ukweli na facts, si ndio? Kama una fact jamani, kubali uko educated, si ndio? So right about now, 4 years into President William Ruto's regime, when they came in 2022, there was the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, si ndio? Na kuna certain programs zenye zinakuwa run hapa. I know there's affordable housing, kuna a myriad of activities. Someone said Kenya is one big construction site. And so I want to come to you, whether you agree with that. I would also want to know how you evaluate the current regime. 4 years down the line, what do you think about it? What do you make of this regime? So each person nikupatia nafasi, please just tell us, alafu ndio tutakuja huko, si ndio? Yes, so nitaanza na wewe Amani, by the way. Umeniangalia sana. Acha nikuje kwako. Tell us, what do you make of the 4 years of President William Ruto's regime?
As I can analyze President William Ruto's 4 years regime, William Ruto has orthogonally failed. Because William Ruto in his manifestos, one of his manifestos, he promised to end corruption and bad governance when he takes the power. Now he's in the power, we are actually observing what is happening is totally different from what he was speaking when he was out of the power.
What is happening?
William Ruto's government has been actually, it has been pinpointed as the, Kenya has been pinpointed as a number 3 in terms of corruption in Africa. Listen, in Africa, Kenya is number 3.
What?
See, unaweza tupea like the site ama ni source gani hiyo, so that tusikue tu na a lot of ama you'll confirm alafu utanipatia.
I'll confirm. In Africa, Kenya is number 3 in corruption. We've been seeing actually these leaders in government. For example, the CS for Interior, Murkomen. They've been coming out. They are showcasing. They are actually trying to show off Kenyans taxpayers' money, the way they are being misused in their own hands, these leaders' hands.
Okay.
So when President William Ruto actually promised to end this kind of corruption and bad governance, we are still seeing these things are still gallivanting, are still surrounding him in his own regime.
Okay, okay. Calm down. So for you it's corruption, si ndio?
It is corruption.
Okay. Nataka tuendelee hivyo nipate thoughts zenu.
No, number 2. I also have
You have another one?
Yes, I also have another one. William Ruto promised to create 1 million jobs through affordable housing.
Yeah.
Once he took the power, he has done that. But there is one thing that William Ruto has actually missed, and he doesn't understand. I am a community development practitioner.
Yes.
I am pursuing community resource management.
That is true.
according to how I understand employment is it is permanent and pensionable.
Okay.
Now, to William Ruto, employment, it is all these casual things and temporary things you are seeing him creating to people, is saying that these are employment.
Which temporary things are you referring to in this case?
I can say these are we call them hand to labor. Hand to labor. In Swahili they are called kazi ya mkono. Mkono wa kazi, kazi ya mkono.
To be fair, Amani, let me also take responses from these other guys. Tuko watu 8, alafu nitakupatia chance nyingine tukirudi.
Thank you.
Mention two issues.
Sawa.
Nyingine fikiria and then nikirudi second round uta.
Thank you.
Acha tuende kwa wakili.
Thank you so much. Honestly, if I would base from my colleague's argument, it is true the affordable housing has created jobs. Initially, or let me say over the past years, in as much as we want to argue that there is youth unemployment, still the government cannot create jobs for every youth. We must agree to that. And another thing, the regime itself, it started while emphasizing on bottom up, and through bottom up, it emphasizes on the agriculture. If you look at the agricultural sector, a lot has improved. Let me give an example of, we have 21 million of subsidized fertilizers, right? At the same time, our GDP has also grown, from I think 6.7% to right now, I think we are at around 4 point something, And aside from that, let us now go back to the education sector, which has improved. As a person, I'm benefiting. And in as much as we want to say that maybe there's those help delays and stuff like that, I talked about new funding model, which is helping me as a person.
Oh, you are in this new funding model?
Yes, yes. And I'm benefiting from it, right? Which was not there initially. Yes.
So, kwa hizi ya maband na sia kuna band siku hizi.
Yeah, yes. And as a law student, in as much as we are paying much, we are paying much as law student.
Yeah.
And per semester, I would say, in a semester, it was initially we were paying much, and right now it was reduced. I think it was reduced last year.
Okay.
Somewhere around last year, from I think 270,000 to right now we are paying around 250. You get in one academic year.
Okay.
I feel like that one has improved,
Okay,
and the regime is actually working.
Thank you, Wakili, for giving us a few examples as to the projects which have been undertaken by the government, especially for you as a law student. I would also love to know, maybe Amani is kama wewe uko kwa hii new system ya but I'll come to you. Tuende kwa Andrew kwanza, and then we'll come to you.
Yes, as for me, I would rate President Ruto 8 over 10.
8 over 10.
Yeah, President Ruto was when he was campaigning to get power, he promised that he will give Kenyans affordable housing. He has delivered affordable housing. If you go to every major town, even in the villages, you can confirm that there are affordable housing, there are construction sites that are ongoing. Again, the president promised to give Kenyans a fair and affordable healthcare system, where initially we had NHIF, and right now the president initiated the SHA, which is giving Kenyans affordable healthcare. Again, the president promised that he will work on Kenya's infrastructure, that is roads, and right now you can see that there are roads projects that are ongoing. Even in the place where I come from, there are roads that are being tarmacked, others are being upgraded. Right now, we can see there is progress on what the president promised. The president promised to empower the youth. We have seen recently he launched the phase 2 for Nyota program, a program that is impacting a lot of youths. Again, the president promised to work on the education sector. The president has employed, since 2022 up to current, the president has employed 70,000 teachers, totaling the number of newly employed teachers to 100,000 teachers.
I want you to leave it there, Muki, because you mentioned so many things. Naona Amani anakuangalia sana. He is wondering whether these things are actually taking place. But so, shikilia hapo, I'll come. Najua bado kuna zingine. So I'll come back to you. Sijui, tuende kwako Faith. Nani? Rose, eh? Okay, sawa.
Ama ni
tuende nawe kwanza.
Okay, I'm not going to rate President Ruto's regimes only on successes and only failures, but I'm going to look at it holistically because, as I said, I am an aspiring policy analyst. And you see, for policy analysis, there's a framework. So the first one is policy target. The policy target of President Ruto was stipulated in the better economy. And the better economy, there was agriculture, MSMEs, the medical, and also the infrastructure. But one thing I'm going to look at is the infrastructure, especially Talanta Stadium. So in Talanta Stadium, was budget allocated? Of course, budget was allocated, right? And then I'm going to look at expenditure. How is the money being spent? Are there corruptions or are there no corruptions? And then I'm going to look at the outcome. That's a tangible project, of course, and it's being delivered. And then I'm going to look at the impact. Is it something that is going to leave a lasting economic and social change? And personally, I think it is going to leave a lasting economic change, because each and every time when we go and look at sports and we see the matches, of course, it is generating a lot of income. And also when you look at the social change in such games, when people come together, socially, it is bringing a good impact. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rose, for that. And I'm happy that you mentioned the aspect of sports, because we have World Cup, which is currently ongoing. Unfortunately, all our teams have been eliminated. I was supporting Morocco, but now, yes, maybe we can go to you. Alafu, tukimaliza kwako tukuje kwako tuende hivi. Si, nataka wewe ukue wa mwisho, ukue na enough time.
Okay, thank you so much, Tony. According to me, I think Ruto is really trying. You know, if you check into Ruto's manifestos in 2022, from the affordable housing to he promised Kenyans a youth hustler fund and such. Unaona, he provided hustler fund. Hata wenye tuko hapa niko sure kuna wenye wako na hiyo loan.
Kuna hata ametumia hustler fund kati. Hata kama ni 500 tu.
Hata kama ni hiyo 500 at least somewhere. To the education, at least unaona the new funding model. Hata mimi niko kwa the new funding model. Niko band 3. Yeah, and it really helped a lot. But you know, also supporting the government doesn't mean you have to believe that everything the government is doing is perfect. At least you recognize the progress, and you also identify the challenges that the government is also having. I was saying, supporting the government doesn't mean you have to believe that everything the government is doing is perfect. Yeah, at least first recognize the progress the government has achieved so far.
Okay.
And identify the challenges. And you can also, like right now we are here in the podcast. I'm sure those politicians do watch these podcasts. If you see like kuna place Ruto afanyi poa and you think you have the solution to that problem, at least when we are here, you say it out, so that next time government kama na feel hapo hakufanya poa, at least they could be, the challenges can be amended. Yeah,
clock it. Loud and clear, sindio? Kama unaona affordable housing haisaidii, you can also tell us ni solution gani unataka tufanye nayo, sindio? Yes, let us go to you, Grash.
Okay, so thank you so much. I would say that the government has really failed, especially it has failed us, the youth, and I will focus on the new funding model. I am in band 5, and I feel the pain of being in band 5. We pay a lot of money, and I believe I was misallocated, and 3 appeals later, I am still in band 5, and it's not myself alone. Students, especially in the Faculty of Engineering, which is the faculty I represent, hence the reason why you should just actually know these are things we are going through, really go through hell trying to pay their fees. For instance, so she says that when the fees were standardized, her fees dropped. When the fees were standardized, the fees for me and most students in the Faculty of Engineering reduced by at most 1,000 shillings. Yes.
Yeah, because I was in the Faculty of Engineering. Maybe you could also delve a bit your to your band.
Yes.
Band gani inapatanga the maximum support?
Band 1. They get they get the fees paid by up to around 90%. Basically, they pay the 7% of the total fees, while for me in band 5, I pay 40%. So you see the inequality they're actually creating. A classmate of mine is paying 28,000 while I pay 115,000 per year.
Okay, but I understand kuna ile means testing instrument yenye wanatumia kuevaluate which band to place you in. So could it be then that maybe kuna mahali yenye kunini vizuri ama...
So my argument really is, why create such a big difference between us? And we actually came forward to say, it's fine. If you want to do bands, it's okay. But how about you consider the courses such as the engineering courses? Because someone who is doing a course like teaching and is in band 5 won't pay the same as the someone who is doing in engineering. So I feel like another failure of this government is just not listening to what people are saying. We were okay, like fine. You're really looking at the fact that universities are going broke and all that stuff. But how about you also listen to us? We have agreed, but bring us to the table. We are telling you in the faculty of engineering, the cost of learning is higher. How about you say for the faculty of engineering, we shall do 3 bands? Yeah.
But do we have cases of people who have appealed, alafu appeals zao zikasikilizwa na maybe wakakuwa reallocated to different bands?
We do, but the problem is there are very few. So I feel like if they would just accommodate us all. Actually, I was among the first people to experience the band thing, and it was terrible. Actually, as a result of it, I lost my scholarship.
Sorry.
And you see, we've been going through a lot ever since. You're being given 20,000 in the name of HELB, yet you're paying 57,000 in that semester. They are not considering other factors like rent. They're not considering the fact that, for instance, in engineering, we use a lot of resources for just the academic process. So we were not really accommodated in this test, whatever. They didn't ask you, are you going to be printing projects worth 4,000?
Okay.
Yeah? So we weren't really accommodated. And then when I look into the new, the affordable housing, it's a good initiative, really. But the question is, are you really going to accommodate the people who should have been targeted in the first place, who are the people in the slums? We did visit the housing in Mukuru Kwanjenga, and I believe they pay for a studio around 4,000. And I'm imagining someone who used to live in the slum paid a rent of around maybe 2,000. You're telling this person to come and pay a rent for 4,000. They won't come into that house. So the house will be there, but it won't be serving the people it should have been serving in the first place.
Okay.
Yes.
So before I come to team, maybe you can tell us, so what would we suggest in such a scenario? Tushajenga hizi manyumba hapa there. So do we just give them to our watu wa hizo nini? They don't pay at all, ama what do we do?
Not that they don't pay at all, and that is the point of research. If you look and realize these people are paying 2,000, make them pay the 2,000. Don't make them pay twice as much. The reason they're paying 2,000, it's because they have the 2,000. They don't have 4,000. So why not accommodate them in this process? Yes.
Thank you so much, Grasha, for that. And I'm happy you've raised pertinent questions, and I believe my panel here will help me to answer some of the questions you've raised. So let me come to team so that at least to malize your round, and then we'll come back for more. So as they respond also, in case you have any questions, please note them down. Nikopatia nafasi, you will get to ask them. Team, let's go to you. Alafu tuende hivyo kwa Val, then tumalize na Masaki ameniangalia sana.
Thank you, Tony, for this opportunity. Yeah, to begin with, I would say the current regime within the 4 years, we must have critics, and at the same time there is performance. We look at our economy stages that we are and our state of the nation, the level of development state the Kenyan is, and our economy level. We always say that we're a third world country, which happens to be true, but the reality is we need long-term solutions. We can say the formal employment is not doing so well, but the majority again is for the informal group. So direct jobs has been created, and for a matter of fact, we as the youths, we now need to be outgoing, because the government is trying to have opportunities for everyone who gets out there. You can find a space. For example, we have the foreign investment. We have investor confidence because of our currency rates in the global market today. That is one thing. That number two, what is really affecting us is the unemployment, which is also being helped. The government is trying to solve it by this construction. Who said that Kenya is a construction site was very right, because that is one way to really affect the daily operations of people. And we believe that these projects that sometimes last between 1 to 3 years can also help shape someone economically, and they can be active in money making. So, which we also know, if we support Mr. Amani, that the formal employment is not growing. It cannot accommodate everyone. We know even today, we look at the data by statistics of every category. In terms of graduation, for example, the number of students who go to the university vis-a-vis those who don't, the percentages are there. For an example, in a million, you will get that 200,000 have access in percentage, not real figures. That is 20% would access higher education level, and we have 80% not qualifying. These are the people that are the majority in our country, and they cannot all get formal employment, but we need to have activities for them. So I would say the government, in terms of rating, it's doing 7.5 in the first 4 years, which is a good sign that if they will be given 10 years, things will be better.
So do you think the president should be worried ama anafaa a smile saizi?
Yeah, the president should be worried again because Kenyans are asking for more, which is the reality.
Thank you, team. And I want to agree with you because according to the economic survey that was released by the CS for Treasury the other time, he said that there were over 800 jobs that were created, new jobs that were created within the past one financial year. Only that a huge chunk of them had been attributed to be in the informal sector. So jobs zinakuwa zinatengenezwa and there may not be as many as were promised according to the survey that was released then. But also we know that we have got a few other activities that zimefanyika globally that might have also affected that. So as we contribute, maybe we could also put that into consideration. Yes, Valerie.
Okay, I would like to answer to oppose Amani's point about corruption. He said that in Ruto's regime there is corruption. I would like to say that there has always been corruption. Corruption has been there before he got into power. Before the 2010s, there has been corruption. So stop putting it in a way that it seems like it's Ruto's fault that there is corruption. There is corruption all over the world. And you cannot expect a single person to stop corruption. Because if we want to stop corruption, it must begin from us, from you individually. So you should not say that you expect Ruto to stop corruption just because he got into power. He's one person fighting 1 million people, or let's say like 100,000 people who are corrupt. So, but he has tried in his own ways to curb corruption. So do not put all the blame on Ruto and his government for the corruption that is in Kenya. It has always been there. Also on my friend's point, she has said that the education model funding, it has not favored her and she does not think it's a good thing. I would like to argue with that. I think it's a good thing. And she has said that it's not favoring people who are in engineering. Personally, I'm in engineering, and I have my friends who are in engineering, second years, third years, first years. So I think it just depends, like the way you had said, on how is it apply? Yeah, like the information that you're feeding in. Because if you're giving information that you're, I'm not saying you lie, but if you are saying
but
that
most of them normally just lie.
Yeah.
Unasema you have one parent,
Afanyi kazi.
live in the interior.
So now if you say, we live in a good house, both parents are working, like the income is good, of course you'll not expect yourself to be put in band 1 or band 2.
Okay.
So I think it's just the way you key in your information, because I think it's actually fair.
Okay.
It's a fair way.
Because from what we have seen is that it tries to determine the level of need so that you're not just having a blanket sort of facilitation, sindio?
Yes.
Okay, because also wanatumia hiyo MTI to avoid any sort of human interaction. Unajua binadamu ni binadamu. Si tukipatia Rose pale aweke Andrew kwa band 1 atamweka kwa band 4. So unaona. But anyway, let us go to Masaki. Nitarudi round nyingine, najua uko na maswali ya Amani, sindio? Uko wewe pia. Sawa. Let's go alafu tukuje huko.
Sawa. Thank you so much, Tony Blair, for giving us this opportunity as young people to have a conversation this evening. We cannot afford another more months for William Ruto in office. That's the first thing. We are having less than 368 days for him to be out of office.
Oh, okay.
And I want to talk on education sector.
Yeah.
Remember, he had promised the bottom-up economic agenda.
Yeah.
Matters to do with education. I don't know my good friends here, my learned friends, if they are in this country, but I want to say the new funding model should not be acceptable in Kenya. I'm a beneficiary. I was the first student. I'm talking this not only from representing Kenyatta University, but comrades at large in this country. When I joined this institution, I was told that I'm placed in band 4. And then the bands were categorized in terms of needs. We have 50%, 40, 30, 20 to 10%. So those who are less needy, they are supposed to pay 10% of the total amount that the university requires them to pay. So it has not been easy. As a student leader, those students who joined in 2024, 2025, have been helping some to call off the semesters simply because of fees. So we had seminars talking about the new funding model, but who's Ruto? He didn't listen to us. So some students are calling. Yesterday, messages were written to parents and students that you need to clear your fee before July. So other students are going again to come for help on how to call off semesters. So it's not easy. Let us not hear people outside here talk of the new funding model that it is good. It is totally draining. So we cannot allow that as a country. That is why we cannot afford. That is why we cannot afford another more day for William Ruto. Number two, let us talk on security and police conduct. Look at how Gen Zs are being mishandled outside here. Look at the job opportunities that are given by the government. It's all about goonism. So if you want to be employed, go do goonism. So there are people who are employing, the government is employing goons. If we elected a member of parliament and he can send goons to us so that we be killed.
You are employed. You are unemployed.
Yes, if you can go out and kill people, the government is employing and it's paying well.
You have evidence.
It's
paid.
I'm talking. Protect me from this class. It's my time. Tony Blair, it's my time.
Yeah,
it's my time.
It is your time.
Yes, I think he should look for me so that I tell him who is employing. So thank you. I was talking on police conduct and security that William Ruto had guaranteed Kenyans.
So you are in security.
I was talking on security and conduct. So the constitution guarantees us that we should assemble and have conversations, not even protesting. But then in this country you cannot assemble.
But
we cannot have we cannot go out there and talk to this government. So the police conduct on abductions, the police conduct on mishandling those people who are on the streets.
I have a question for you, Masaki,
Thank you.
before we proceed.
Yes.
Is there any positive thing you can point out from this current government?
Yeah.
Moja peke yake.
Yeah.
Ngani?
Building a bridge. That is the only positive thing.
That only peke yake.
Yeah. Because I'm in a learning institution and I'm told that the only job I'll get after my degree in public policy, in law, in
education. What are you pursuing at Kenyatta University?
I'm taking Bachelor of Arts. In the School of Law, Arts and Social Sciences. So you want to tell me that I'll get out of that institution so that I'll be employed working in a site in construction.
Wow.
It is those are the only job opportunities. Or else I join my other team, but I'm still young. I cannot go and fight and kill.
I have a burning question.
Please ask.
OTB, explain to me this thing about bands and how you apply for it. And what determines whether you're in band 1, 5, 3, so that everyone and people who are watching are able to understand why she's in band 5 and she's in band 2 and is not supposed to be in band 2, for just a better understanding.
Okay. Categorization of bands is basically done on needs. And what they usually look at is the pay. I don't know if it's the pay slip, how your parents earn. If my parent is earning 100,000 per month, they know now to categorize. Okay. So if some of us, our parents don't even have KRA pins that they'll be receiving some money from anywhere. They only do, let us say, they only do agriculture, but they don't have those. So when you apply and your parent earns some good money, you are placed in band 5.
Which is?
Which is 50%.
Which is the least support.
Yeah, the least support. So for those who are vulnerable and could not raise that amount of money in university, they are supposed to attach some documents, such as death certificates, so that they can be placed to those bands. But then at the end of the day, you get this student who's vulnerable is in band 5. Yeah, so those things are not.
Why are they in band 5? There must be a reason, because if it's automated, and we said that we are here to learn, right? Why is it that they are vulnerable? They've presented those documents. We are saying that this whole system is automated. Why is it that they're in band 5 and not band 1? Why do you think? Oh, those are the questions you're asking.
Yeah, that is why we are having appeals. And when you do that appeal, they don't come back like. They'll not again categorize you where you are supposed to be. What they'll do, they'll categorize you. If you are in band 5, they'll bring you to band 4.
Okay, they're just a little higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and I think it is not just dependent on the statements alone. See, you also have to say whether your parents are alive when you attach the documents.
Yeah.
But from the presentation of the PS in Nyagala, there was also the part where they look at even the schools you've attended in high school and even primary. So it's not just like one thing alone.
Yeah,
it's a whole formula.
Can I say something?
Please, okay.
Okay. So even if they look at the schools, for instance, in high school, I used to pay 43,000 per year. So you want me to jump from 43,000 per year to 115,000 per year? Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Now, let us look at, she's saying it's
but
fair.
you have got to a higher learning institution.
It is a higher learning institution. Ideally, Bachelor of Quantity Surveying in the previous band, I would have paid 28,000 per year, which would have been lower than my high school fees. So if they wanted to maintain, they should have maintained it at 43,000. Like she said, it's fair. It's not fair. Band 5 is for people whose household income is above 120,000. Now let us just look at 120,000. Someone earns 120,000 per year. Another question that they used to ask is whether you have siblings in higher learning institutions. Now, let us assume your parents earn, so you have 120,000 as a household. Out of that 120,000, in a year, you're still taking that 120,000 and putting it in school fees, minus rent. As student learning at the Technical University of Kenya, lazima utalipa rent. We do not have hostels. Assume you're paying rent of 7,000 per month because the houses close to the CBD are very expensive. That is 84,000. Now, because you do not have any other siblings in the higher learning institution, they put you in band 5. But you have siblings in high school, in primary. Someone in high school is paying 43,000. Do you think this household is it holding up? It's not holding up.
Okay. So, guys, at this point, please allow me to bring in the panel. Then I'll come back to Afadhali because they've been really waiting eagerly. So, I'll come back in the second round. Cindy,
they just give them a chance.
Yeah, let them speak.
Okay.
Let them speak.
Thank you. Actually, I'd like to retort on her point when she was saying that corruption is not new. Corruption was there in the previous governments. There's one thing that I really don't like. We cannot keep on saying corruption is in the previous governments as if corruption is a good thing. We cannot keep shifting goalposts. When Ruto got into this regime, before he got into this regime, he promised corruption will be one thing that will not be there anymore. So it is very wrong for you to say that corruption was in the previous regime. The conversation that you're supposed to be having now is how can we stop corruption? Yes.
But she's also right, so it can't be wrong for her to say so.
No, she's saying
She's
it as
wrong,
if.
but she's right.
Okay.
She's not wrong. It's not wrong. You can't tell her that she's wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, she can't
Okay,
be
she-
wrong
You are
because she's
both
saying
right.
the truth.
Okay, we are
Yeah,
okay.
we can
okay,
only
that's
converse about
Yeah.
what's
it's
the
okay.
solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that you don't end up, and sorry to interject you.
Antagonizing. Yeah.
We don't want to end up like what I see on some TV stations where we put up young people to start fighting each other so that we are looking for who shouts the best. That is not supposed to be the motivation. So it's not necessary for you to have personalized attacks. Like, you are wrong, you are stupid. It is unnecessary. Like I heard you say, let me not hear anyone tell us that this thing is good. No. That's your opinion. Please let others also have their opinion so that at the end of the day, we navigate a solution. Okay?
Yeah, thank you so
My
much.
apology. My apologies.
Thank you, Mundalo,
Thank you for apologizing,
that interjection. You wanted to respond before you go to Amani?
Yeah, I want to respond on
briefly.
Yeah, so you're saying that based on your argument about, for example, the payroll. So your parent is earning 120,000, right? So when you're going to apply for it or when you're keying that information, you have to be smart. You see all those things that you have considered.
So where do you have to get to a point where I lie so that it benefits me instead of just creating a system where people can be honest?
Okay. She has not said you lie.
You're just putting into consideration all those things that you have said.
That means it's
But
not
your mic.
The reason why we have to go through the strain of what do I put so that it can favor me means it doesn't work.
No, but
It's
how do
not
you want
working.
them- how do
You
want
see,
us now
my
to-
argument was I didn't say remove band 5. I said consider the course someone is doing. And don't just look at do you have siblings in higher learning? Do you have siblings in high school? Do you have siblings in primary? These are also students whose school fees are being paid. And I said someone who is in teaching and is in band 5 is not as bad as someone who's in engineering and band 5. Why don't we say for engineering we're going to do 3 bands just because we are really considering these students? I didn't say get rid of the new funding model. I understand that our higher learning institutions need this money.
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand your point because I'm an engineering student.
Yes.
And I also understand why you are the faculty representative now. Yes. So maybe tupate point ya Amani. You also have something. Now mkona ma points mingi leo jamani.
Good argument.
Okay.
Thank
you. Huko umemaliza? Okay, wacha tutamaliza na wewe. But let us be brief sasa Amani, eh?
Thank you. So, on corruption, let me just answer my sister here on corruption. You know, a good supporter does not just support everything. Even sometimes a child claims when the food is too salty. So listen, I never say that we are comparing corruption from the governments that we've been having. President William Ruto is the one who came out the other day and accused some of the parliament members who were actually they were borrowing money so that they may reject or they may pass some laws. So does that is not corruption? Is that not corruption? So if himself he said that he will actually fight this this corruption and bad governance, then why are we still seeing it happening in his regime?
So Amani,
another thing is employment. No, let me just finish. Another thing is employment. My brother here articulated it very well, and I understood.
Yes.
So you see, my brother, someone like me, I'm actually pursuing community resource management. My faculty, or rather my studies, things to do with the NGOs, whatever. So even my father at home runs some building. Even my father at home runs some building construction.
Yes.
And I always see when the materials are not there, or rather when the labor on hand is not there, the fundis or what? The fundis will have to wait, and so they will not have something to put in there. They will not have that income. So my brother, you shouldn't have come to here to start supporting things you don't understand.
Amani, please.
On goons, they are saying, the other politician was saying that goons are everywhere. Every politician have goons. We've been seeing clips, goons being escorted by police working alongside police. Do you want to say that the opposition has got the power to command the police to protect the goons, if not the government, which is in power?
Okay. So, Amani, you've raised very pertinent. Respond,
yes, no. I wanted to inform the people who are opposing the new funding model that it is not bad to oppose. It is we need to have a constructive conversation on how we need to, or how the government should restructure it if it has some faults. And again, I want them to consider that before the new funding model was initiated, we had the old funding model where we had cases of students who were bright students back in the villages in our society who did not manage to go to the university because they were not able to raise some certain school fees because the school fees was in certain uniformity where a student from that wealthy family could manage to pay that school fees, and then yet a student from that poor background could not manage to pay the same school fees. So as much as we are fighting for the government to consider you also need to look at that student who is now in band 1, who is paying 9,000 and managing to pay school fees and learn in the same institution the same way you are learning, so that we can have a unified Kenya. We need to fight for inequality, and we will fight for inequality when we are all educated, when we are all learning at the same ground. Yeah.
Thank you, Mogi, for that. Situmklokie jamani. I think that deserves to close. Jamani, we really need to move away from kitu ya nini sana juu. You know, when you look at President William Ruto, there are so many other things we can also look at, so we really need to come to a close. I don't know whether it's still on education. Yako ni on education?
Maybe. It's not on education. But I just wanted to answer his point when he was saying that right now there's no employment and youths are being taken as goons. But there's one question I really want to ask on goonism. It's true, employment is still a catastrophe in our country. But at the same time, why should we still blame the government on goons? Au youths wenyewe, kwa nini hao pia wanakubali kukua goons? Kwa nini?
Okay.
So, should you go and cause havoc because hakuna pesa?
How sustainable is that job?
Yes,
Okay.
I think we need to create a value system. Ama?
Yeah, I think the question is on. Nah, it will be answered. See, sasa tukuje huku alafu we come back for the second round. Let's start with you, Joan. Umesikia venye majenzi wanaongea leo, wako na mioto sana, and they speak very passionately about their country. So maybe you could respond to their thoughts.
I like that they're able to speak their minds. I like that they're informed. You know, Gen Zs are informed about what's going on in the country. But one thing that I would encourage young people is everyone you see seated in this country at whatever age was at your age at some point and went through the processes that you're going through. I have a feeling that Gen Zs now are entitled na dunia iharibike if we don't listen to them. Dunia iharibike, you know, yeah. But we call for patience, and these discussions are actually to also have government listen to you and be able to improve on those areas that are below par. It's true you cannot give you know, performance at 100%, right? There are instances where, according to the manifesto, you know, the president has delivered or the UD administration has delivered. And there are instances where it has not delivered because there are bottlenecks, there are challenges, like what you're raising on the band issue. I believe it's something that is as a result of, you know, a system that's been put in place that is not perfect. If you work in an institution that uses, you know, automation, if you work I've worked in banks, and I've worked in institutions where systems are used, you're bound to come up with, to encounter bottlenecks. And feedback is very important. And when you're giving feedback, give feedback in a structured manner. I'm learning about these bands. I have children in uni, and it's true they get granted that loan according to us, where we are at as a family. I get that information when my son applied for help. I got the information on my phone. You know, he had to, and what happens is that information is connected to my tax record. So government has a overview picture of what your parents are and at what position they are at. So sometimes you may not understand why you're where you are, but the government system has gone and actually viewed your parents' position and the income position, and maybe that's why you're where you are. I'm not saying that's the fact. So let's sit back, give feedback through the levels that you're doing as student leaders, and have those corrected. A good thing. I think the president is trying, and I've had people complain that he's too hands-on. He's hands-on because in the past, this country ukiacha vitu hivyo, people do things as the way they know. He's hands-on because he wants things to happen. And the other day I was speaking to a friend of mine who came from Kisumu, and he was shocked. He was telling me the kind of work that's happening on infrastructure in this country is mind-blowing. Those were his words. It's mind-blowing. On job creation, you're called
Amani Joshua.
Amani is talking about kazi ya mkono tu. In construction, kuna watu wangapi? What caliber of employees are in construction? You have mtu wa mkono. You have civil engineers. You have electrical engineers. You have architects. You have plumbers. You have quantity surveyors. So all those people jobs have been created for them to work and also gain experience. So let's not just look at this construction work that's happening as kazi ya mkono. I will give you an example of developed economies. I'll take, for example, of the Nordic countries. I like using those economic models because they are very equal. Hii kazi ya mkono mnadharau hapa. Their kids, I'll take an example of Denmark. I love the spirit of that country. You will find that a child akizaliwa kikuwa mkubwa anapenda hiyo kazi ya masonry. That's where the child's heart is. So you'll find that he'll be developed, he'll actually be nurtured to be a mason. So what happens? The government will intermittently come up with projects, building projects, so that that skill is able to be utilized and is paid. The difference is the economic level is higher than ours, what we have here. So with that masonry job, atapata pesa, according to the level of lifestyle and economic situation that they have. So let us not dharau what the president is doing. And construction is what forms the basis of development in any economy. Construction, because construction is housing, construction is infrastructure that's opening spaces. 1, 2. Jobs are not only provided by governments. Government can only absorb a portion. I think if you look at the job opportunities in governments, both at national and county level, I'm not sure there are more than 400,000 opportunities. But government is supposed to provide a conducive environment so that Amani, you and that skill that you have learned in college, you're able to provide a job, a gainful employment for yourself. If you look at the economic survey, you'll find that 80% of jobs in this country are in the informal space. They're in the informal space. What does that mean? They're even outside the tax bracket. So unaweza kuwa that your parent, umesema wazazi wako are not in the tax bracket, but they are farmers. Yeah, they are producing things for sale, right? Wanapata kitu, but they are not in the tax bracket. Now, you can imagine if we are able to have them into the tax bracket and be able to collect that money to expand opportunities, we can go very far. So job opportunities are not only provided by government, no. Job opportunities are also provided by you and me. Unaona ule msichana wa kazi tunaita, akuja afanye kazi kwa nyumba. The mistake we make is we pay her below the recommended wage, which is supposed to be 18,000. Yeah. Ukilipa msichana wako wa kazi ama kijana wako kwa kazi less than that level of you're committing an illegality. So today kama msichana wako wa kazi anakuja kwa nyumba na unamlipa shilingi 7,000, you're breaking the law. Even you as a person. So let's broaden our minds. Let's think as what we can do also from the education that we are getting. Let me not overexpend what I have to say. Let me give my colleagues opportunity.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think you've answered so many questions, also raising very critical issues that we as a Gen Zs should look at, especially on the aspect of where we can all not work in government at the same time, Sindio? And there are also other sectors that can provide meaningful opportunities to us as the young people. In case you're watching us for the first time, tafadhali, and also you have a question, tuma hapo, we'll be able to look at it and we'll respond to you. Right now, maybe I can move to advice. Advice, you can speak to the Gen Zs. You've had the questions they've raised. Now, especially around the issues of unemployment and also corruption, Gunizu. Speak to the young people.
Oh, thank you very much. First of all, I'm very happy with the conversation today. And one of the reasons is because I think 100% of the panelists today are actually leaders in their own right. So they do not only speak for themselves, but they also speak for the people that they actually lead. And one thing I wanted to say that, you see, in 2047, there will be an election in Kenya. And in that election, there will be issues that we will present to the people. Most likely, you'll be one of the people who will be running for president by then. Trust me, you'll have something to tell Kenyans that you want to do. Just the same way, I was a student leader in Kenyatta University many years ago. My brother is a student leader now. And imagine up to now, there is still something he has to tell the people. There are still issues. Okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is that issues will always exist. And one of the things that we must be able to tell ourselves is that one government cannot be able to solve all the challenges. But what we must be able to do is that we must be able to push government so that at the time of their existence, they can be able to move us forward. So that at the end of the day, we are not stagnating. We should be moving forward. You can be able to imagine that it's 250 years, if I'm not wrong, since America got independence. And the people running for president of America still have issues to tell the people that they will do. When you look at a subject like youth unemployment, in the UK now is called a generational fault line. And the UK is 225 years old. And they still are grappling with this issue called youth unemployment. In Africa, we have kept calling it a ticking time bomb. So when we understand issues in that context, then we'll be able to understand that, wait a minute, then we should be looking at, are we making progress? Should be our best question, not have we eliminated it. Because the reality is that when we think about elimination, then we'll be practicing wishful thinking. But what we should be able to be conversing is, are we really, really moving forward? Are there steps that we are taking towards the right direction? And again, I've always said that when you want us to have a very sober conversation, especially we as young people, reduce the volume of your emotions. Reduce them totally, and then increase the volume of your reason. That way, we can all reason together. When I listen to her, and I'm already fixated that because I am two-term, she must not make sense, then both of us will not make sense. And if she listens to me and she's fixated that because she is one term and she thinks I am the other way, then we must not agree. Then at the end of the day, we can't move forward. So it should be that, can we be able to have contextual conversations? And the question that you are asking about government deliverables, sometimes it's hard to put ourselves in this situation of he said and she said. Someone says it's working, another one says it's not working, like the funding model. All of you are students, all of you in higher education, but some say it's working, others say it's not working. Now, can we sometimes just look at the things that we can all agree upon? For instance, isn't it true that our domestic workers were all over social media before the advent of this government, and they're always complaining of mistreatment? That is true, right? Are they there today? They are not there today. That simply means that government intervention with the negotiation of those contracts has worked. That one we can all agree. Can we be able to look at things that we can all agree upon, like the terrorism? At one point in this country, we were complaining about it's either Westgate or Garissa University or someone else, right? Since the advent of this government, have we been able to see terrorism activity in our country? No, we haven't. So we can all agree that that's a step in the right direction without mincing words. There was a time, there was banditry problem in Northeastern, and I'm sure all of us were in this country, including yourself. And at that time, every other day on the news, there was a banditry issue, right? Until George Natembeya became a celebrity, because he was always on TV talking about the banditry in Northeastern. In fact, that propelled him to become governor. Today, since the advent of this government, have we been able to see that as big an issue as it was before? We can all agree that it has been a step in the right direction. It is something that has been able to be done. So when we look at such kind of realities, we'll get to realities like what we were discussing about our unga prices. I was in the previous government when we put up a subsidy to reduce the price of unga. It is a fact we all saw. When this government came on board, they removed that subsidy and the unga prices went up. And the argument was that let us subsidize production and not subsidize consumption. And they put up a subsidy and invested in the fertilizer. Several months down the line, we can all agree that the unga prices actually came down and we had better stock. It is a reality. We can all agree, for those of you who come from Central Kenya, that coffee pricing today is much higher than it was before.
Farmgate.
These are things that we all can be able to see and all of us can be able to agree upon. So that we run away. I'm trying to run away from issues where it's about what you say versus what I say. And we have those ones that are just, we can all be able to see. And how do you judge a government? You judge a government on the basis of its promise. Okay? So when this government came in, what did it promise? And what is it delivering? So we can have fundamental things that we also can agree upon, like, did this government promise the Hustler Fund? They did. Is the Hustler Fund there? It is. Okay. Right? Yeah. Did they promise affordable housing? They did. Is the affordable housing there? They are constructing those houses. Are they the numbers that they promised? That's a conversation of another day. They might not be up to the numbers that they actually said. Yeah. But are they actually doing it? So that way we can be able to converse and ask ourselves the fundamental questions of, are we seeing progress or are we not? And you must also be able to understand that policy formulation is done on the basis of the masses. My sister here wants to be a policy analyst. It is done on the basis of the masses. It is not subjective. So sometimes policy might not favor you, but also you must be keen to study whether you are part of the majority or the minority. For instance, today, maybe our viewers don't know, I don't know whether Mwesh wanted viewers to know that we take tea when we arrive. It can be one of the motivations for someone to want to join us. Now, when all of us take tea and I arrive and I miss, my judgment of the quality of this show becomes very different. Yet I'm one person. Okay? Yeah. So sometimes it can be policy that is, because on policy you make it for the public. It is for public good. Yeah? And it can't meet everyone's threshold of expectation. So we must be able to understand, okay, with this policy formulation, is it serving the general public better? Like what the conversation about the university funding model. We must ask ourselves, and I like the contribution she makes. And I'm asking myself, so we must be able to ask ourselves, okay, what is the majority? Are the majority the ones benefiting or the ones not benefiting? And then what are the loopholes? And as we do that, we must also ask ourselves, is it true that there was a problem with our university funding? When I was in the university, my brother, in the same Kenyatta University, I don't know what the fee is today. We used to pay 16,000 and that was fee and accommodation, 16,800. Okay? And that was for both the parent who lives in Lavington and the one who has no ETIMS. Both of us paid 16,500. Was it fair? It was not fair. Because there was a parent who could pay it for the 5 years and forget about it. And as we sat in those KUSA offices, we still received forms of students who did not manage to pay fee. Some could call off semesters because of a fee balance of 800 shillings, 1,900 shillings. And that's why we started something called Somesha Mwenzako. I don't know whether it is still there. Meaning, even at that time when it was 16,500 and it was general, it was not equitable the way we would want to imagine. There were still others who could not afford it. Yet we had others who could pay it themselves, not their parents.
True.
So is it true that when government says this model is wrong and we must be able to categorize you according to your capacity, is government right? I would think that government is right. But then we can be able to discuss what is the framework of implementation so that we don't end up with a needy student put in the wrong band and another rich student put in the other band, so that at the end of the day it becomes progressive. So my view is that it is a progressive policy formulation, but what we need to be conversing and discussing is the implementation framework of it so that we make the implementation better. But when we argue as though the whole of it is useless and we should go back, sometimes we think the current things are wrong because we are not there in the past.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mundalo. Tumklokie jamani. Very valid points. Now, I'm happy that you've raised the question of we may not have been there in the past, and therefore sometimes we may not appreciate what is taking place right now.
Yeah.
And so on that note, I want to invite Mheshimiwa to also tell us something, especially as somebody who has been there for a long time.
That makes you look very old.
OTB, that
No
is
offense.
I'm protected. Thank you very much, and I thank you for this opportunity. When I got the topic of the day, I was very excited that today we are coming to look at the scorecard of this administration at 4. And as usual, probably maybe let me just deal with a few issues that have emerged before I come to the substantive part of the presentation. And my colleagues have dealt with those issues very, very well. And like you said, the whole idea is to generate light, not to generate heat.
Yeah.
Amani,
I like that.
just light, not heat. And so 2 things. The funding model, I think Joanne says something very critical, that the funding model, the formulation of the model is targeting at least 2 key parameters. Number 1, what is the status of your parent? Number 2, what course are you going to pursue? And I thought that is the case because some courses are more expensive than others.
Yeah.
So when you feed in the data, it speaks to those key parameters, and the model places you. And like any other model, there could be exceptions, outliers. But the big question now here, by the law of average, if you know the normal distribution curve, the 67% of the students, are they placed correctly? That is the big question. So that if there are any exceptions, then we deal with them on a case-by-case basis. But the policy has served at least 67 to 70% of the population. That's how every policy works, even in your house, at home. It doesn't please everybody. Number 2, when you are growing up, and I grew up, and I'm happy I went through the university as well. When I was at that age, it's called the fantasy time of your life. Everything revolves around you. and you think you must never be mistreated, life must never be unfair to you because you didn't apply to be born, and all those kind of things. But the reality is, it's just a phase in life. And the society tries to give you the best from your parents, You will never get everything from your parents. Your government tries to give you the best. You will never get everything from your government. So when we evaluate the performance of government, I think it is fair to evaluate it on macro parameters, not the micro, not an individual case. We look at the big picture. And to evaluate a government, we need to work with what is it that we expected our government to do, and how well has it done, or how poorly has it done. And that way, if you want, you can compare it with the previous administrations to give you a better picture. But better still, because in the previous administration, the younger generation were not there. So we want to ask ourselves, what was the promise as captured in the plan that the president put before the people of Kenya? And how far that was approved by the vote. And now, to what extent has this plan been implemented? And I think I want to put some disclaimer somewhere. I was lucky to have been part of the people who contributed into the building up of this manifesto. And in the Nyanza caucus, we talked about many things. One thing that we spoke about was the creation of TVET institutions in Nyanza region, just to capture the talent that the Nyanza people have of doing things with their hands. I will ask His Excellency to ensure that that is done, working closely with the governors, because that will go a long way in improving the economy of that region. But be that as it may, what are the other things that were in the plan? And I think Mundalo and Joanne have spoken to those things. But let me add, the affordable housing, people are saying we have houses, we don't need houses. But it was in the plan. And that plan was voted. That plan was launched, and people came from all over the country. Representation from Coast, Northeastern, Eastern, Central, Western, Nyanza. And we all approved that plan. And that plan was put on a referendum to Kenyans during the elections. And Kenyans voted for that plan. And housing, done. The second promise was infrastructure. Infrastructure is working. In fact, I want to give His Excellency an applause, a big A. Because if you look at the way infrastructure of this country has been, it has concentrated on the eastern side of the Rift Valley. The western side of the Rift Valley has never seen infrastructure, at least in the density that we see it in the eastern side, especially in the central part. So today, there are infrastructure programs going on in Northeastern, Eastern, Coast, Western, Nyanza, and also in Central. So that equity is a very big plus to be seen to be happening in our country. The big narrative that has come to disrupt the good work that the president is doing is that the deputy president was impeached. But the impeachment of the deputy president has opened ways for development to go to other regions of the country. And we are now proud of that. We are past the era of shares and people who owned the government and people who did. Because once elections are done, the government of the day has to serve the entire population of a country. Number two, food security is a key element in any economy or to any population. Today, I think Kenya has never felt food secure like it is feeling today. And the good thing is that food security is locally produced. The bags of maize that we are producing today can take us to the next with a surplus. So people are happy in Kenya because they are well fed to the extent that they can now even afford to say that the president is not working because they are well fed. The other thing is this fixation with the younger generation with the permanent and pensionable employment. You see, the only place that the president can create employment on is the public service. That is what is under his control. The Kenya Public Service was fixed in 1963 when we got independence. Every subsequent president has employed people. At this point, we can only replace retirees because the government is of the same unit. It doesn't expand. So if you're waiting for permanent and pensionable job, you are a victim of the old lie that you are told, soma,
So many vijana.
alafu upate kazi nzuri,
Sana.
permanent and pensionable.
1960.
The way labor market works, labor market is where people get employment. The way labor market works is that the labor market expects you to come in with skills, and the labor market will pay for your skills. If you come into the labor market without skills, the labor market will not pay you. I can assure you in Kenya today, there are still many places that require people for employment. But there's a mismatch between the certificate people are holding and the employment opportunities that are available.
True.
And I'm happy, Tony, let me just conclude with this.
Okay.
I'm happy. I had a report recently that those people who were qualified to join the university, a whole 8,000 to 9,000 of them opted out and applied to join TVETs.
Skills.
I think it is time our government prioritized TVET institutions over university institutions so that our graduates can come up with skills instead of certificates.
Okay.
And I think we will have a more productive country and economy.
Exactly. Thank you so much, and I agree with that. Maybe you have something to...
Tony, let me just interject for a minute before I know our guys are limbering to speak. But on that employment question, I've always also wanted us to have a conversation around where is the place of competence as we grapple with the unemployment problem. Where is the space for competence? Because we sometimes talk as though all young people are competent. The only problem is that they don't have a place to work. But when I walk around in the restaurants and see those ones who have been even accorded the opportunity to even be waiters and waitresses, how often do you see them change in those restaurants? You go today, next week, they are new ones. The other following, they are new ones. And then the problem is always the same, that this one was incompetent. Even yourself, when you go to a restaurant, when you are treated, do you always feel like the people treating you are very competent? And sometimes when you go to a reception, most of our receptions have young people. We are the same ones who argue and say, how is this one even behaving?
True.
So we also see the incompetence. So even as we grapple with this question, we must also be able to ask ourselves the fundamental question of competence. There is a question that there is something John raised about the domestic workers, the ones we are putting in our houses. And maybe I would want to ask Joan, how many times has she changed her domestic worker in a record 2 years? Sometimes people have changed these domestic workers, and the common problem is competence. You'll hear this one stole you what from me and whatever and all that, right? This one put the child in the microwave. And all that kind of thing. So sometimes, as a younger generation, we must not always just speak about being on the receiving side of things. Sometimes we must face our realities in the face. We must be able to be bold enough to tell ourselves, but what is our contribution to the challenge as well? Are we really as competent as we want everyone else to be? Try and look for a camera person to hire today. There are many people who have studied journalism, but look for a competent camera person. And sometimes when you get a competent one, try and see whether they will arrive at 5 the way you told them, or they will arrive at 6:30. So the place of competence is also very, very fundamental, and we must be bold enough. As a young generation, we must stop thinking that life must revolve around us and we are right, and everyone else is wrong. Yeah.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our panelists. See, wamefanya justice to the topic. And on Mudala, you've left it at a very interesting point that it is not a question of sisi we are right, alafu kuna wenye ni wrong all the time. Hata nyi wenyewe naitanga hapa show mara ngapi. I even try to entice you with tea. You still come at 3 p.m. Sini ukweli. Mkijaribu sana, I'll find 2 or 3 people. So at the end of the day, we also have to self-reflect, especially as young people. And I think you've also spoken, Mheshimiwa, to very pertinent issues, the question of TVET, equity, infrastructure, and the question of food security is so important that is why every Sunday lazima tukunywe chai hapa, si ndio? Sababu ya subsidized fertilizer na mambo mengine. But anyway, I'm going to allow you people to ask questions, of course. This is the last round yenye tunafanya because we are really pressed on time. So you be brief, but also kama kuna kitu ambayo umetake from the panelists, you're also allowed to maybe comment about it. So nitaanza na we team, alafu we'll go that way, the other side, alafu tukuje to the closing round by our panelists, ndio? Anybody learning something? Yes, that is what we normally come to do hapa, si ndio? Jamani, umekata kulearn jamani. Yes, team.
Thank you, Bwana Tony, for this opportunity again. It's been a pleasure today being here. Mine is a comment. I want to appreciate this young mind for how they are speaking and the ideas that they have. However, as also a youth in this group, I want us to believe that once we all graduate, degree itakwambia as it pertains. It doesn't tell you to go and look for employment. So come outside here, try and create a solution. Money nowadays is made by solutions. So that is what I'm learning. And I really want to embrace that let us provide solutions. We will not find ourselves crying. Because if you want to work for a capitalist, ile siku utapata hiyo permanent pension, but I do have friends, they cry more than I do. I don't know why, but wako na kazi. Mimi, I was privileged kufanya internship ya serikali in a very high-end office, but I didn't opt for employment either because I saw that the kind of training I was getting, to me, it was a kind of a limitation to who I could become. So I decided this way that as a generation, let us shift our mentality towards solutions and problems. Let us solve problems in real time. We will be able to make money on our own and we can become people. That is what I think is my takeoff today. And every young mind here, we can do much better.
Asante sana. You are always a wise man. Yani wewe wengine wanalia kazi, wewe uliwacha kazi jamani. But anyway, you are a sharp boy. So let me make it a bit easier by the way for you guys. I want you to mention for me one thing that you feel the government has really delivered on and one area you feel gava ija deliver on according to expectations yako. And kama una yenye una feel ija deliver, you are also allowed to skip that. So side yenye uko nayo. We can start with you, Grace.
Okay, thank you once again. So like I said, and I'll say again, on the affordable housing, that is a very good initiative.
Okay.
The thing that the government requires to do, juu watu hata wajaingia kwa hizo nyumba wengi sana. They really need to consider like the people that are getting, like for Mukuru, don't charge someone what you know very well they will not afford. So they have delivered on the houses. That's a very good initiative, but ensure you actually accommodate the people. Back to the new funding model still. And I really, if you're a good person, tafadhali tupatie just now a podcast for the new funding model.
Nafasi ya NFM.
When you are saying you are talking about a parent who lives in Lavington and a parent mwenye hana pesa, I feel like the new funding model just looked at those two things, ule wa juu, ule wa chini. Kuna mtu aliachwa, the middle class. That is why I'm using the 120,000 shillings to give you the example. So the middle class was really ignored when coming up with this model.
Okay.
Number two, there's a shadow of the new funding model, which is the loan.
Oh yeah.
Yes, even in the payment of school fees, there's a part of it that for instance, for me, 30% is government scholarship, 30% is a loan. What is happening is someone in the fifth band is again coming out with a higher loan than someone in the first band. So I am paying for the perspective the government has on my parent. The truth is, mtu mwenye anatoka kwa a house of 100,000. Yeah. Wakitoka yeye na ule mwenye you have favored and put in band 1, they're all going to struggle for the same resources. So I'm coming out with a higher loan, he's coming out with a lower loan. Is that fair?
Okay.
It's not fair. Number 3, when I started, I said the problem with the government is listening. When the new funding model was introduced, we pointed out this problem. So did they do? They brought the university leaders who are not victims of the model, and they passed whatever they passed. And I'm in third year, so it's been 3 years since it was introduced. We have been presenting all these feedbacks, no change. Okay. So why not listen to us?
Asante. Thank you so much, and you speak very passionately about the issue of education, nani graka, and it is my hope that at the end of the day we shall be able to solve these cases, easy problem ndogo hapa za implementation. But before you go to Valerie, there's a question I wanted to ask you, especially around, because the intention of this NFM, part of the reason was to help our universities which had been wallowing in a lot of debts. So what would you suggest then to ensure that at least these challenges are solved? Unaona, according to last year, zilikuwa na debts of close to 66 billion shillings. So ilikuwa ni to transfer the cost of education to the student na the parent nini so that university is able to survive. So unaona tungefanya hapo aje so that it becomes better?
Like I said, all you have to do is really consider the student as well. Do not get rid of the new funding model. It's doing something good. We all know there were protests in the Technical University of Kenya na shida ilikuwa nini? School fees. Watu hawajamaliza fee and they're being told if you don't complete your fees, you won't be able to sit your examination. Okay. Now, and you see, the students, again, they were from my faculty, most of them. And they were all, the students who were affected were from the new funding model. Wale wengine wajua walifanya mtihani. So about, I don't know, about a third of the institution did not sit for the examination because they cannot afford the fees that the government is asking them to pay. Why did we not consider these students?
Asante sana, asante. And karibu sana wakili, Kidimwaga. Tuko na conversation with the young people and we are discussing Ruto at 4. So 4 years of the Kenya Kwanza regime, tunaangalia the initiatives, delivering the plan, and the lessons of the young people. So we will be picking, tunasikia thoughts zao, and then I'll give you people an opportunity to respond. Of course, tumeshafanya the first round, so this is our final round. So karibu sana, feel at REDRING.
Asante sana.
Yes. So maybe we can go to you, Valerie, now. Alafu tufanye hivyo round and then we'll come to the panelists. One place you feel the government has delivered on, na point moja yenye una feel maybe hawajamit expectations zako.
Okay, thank you, Tony. So in one area that I've seen the government has delivered is the affordable housing, because I think they've really done a good job in that area. Recently I was on TikTok, I was seeing the affordable housing in Kisumu. They've really done a good job. But then I would like to criticize something. There's this thing of starting a project, then they leave it halfway. Take for example, Masinde Muliro Stadium. They had started, they had hyped it up that they will reconstruct it, make it better. But if you look at it now, it has come to a standstill. No activities are happening there. They've just left it pending. And I'm sure there are other activities, they promised on, but they have started, but they just left it halfway. So I would like the government to finish what they started.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody said they don't eat stadiums. Yes, Masaki.
Thank you so much. I think all these things will be solved by the alternative government that will come in place because time is not with Kenya Kwanza. So our panelists, thank you for pumping knowledge into us. And the only thing that you guys have not talked on is about the odious deaths that we are having in this country. You've not talked about that.
We talk what he asks.
Okay.
It's
and
okay.
what you bring up as well.
It's okay. Let us see the odious debts. Let us see the imposition of levies and taxes. I want to ask a question directed to you, all about the levies. There is healthcare levy, the affordable housing levy. When you guys pass through your pay scripts, you always see those taxes. And I usually wonder how I saw a report by the Auditor General and the contractors in constructing the stadium that we are constructing till date. The Kenyans are going to pay a lot of money. Remember, those are debts. And then I want to ask you a question all about these levies. You guys are going to pay, and then salary zenu huwa zinakatwa wakati munalipa ushuru. And then the government, every government comes in with its own projects. So William Ruto came in with affordable housing, akatoa NHIF, brought in SHA, and then a new government is coming. So kuna hizi pesa zenye mulikuwa munalipa zenye hamkumaliza kulipa. Hizo pesa zenu huenda wapi? Because Uhuru Kenyatta came, alikuwa na projects zake, William Ruto akakuja akatoa NHIF akaeka SHA. So hizo pesa zote ni za taxpayers money. Hizi pesa zitaenda wapi?
Okay. Thank you so much. I think your question is on itajibiwa, but also Kidi, the question of odious debt ni kitu yenye pia I'd love you to respond ile time takupatia nafasi. Juu ni kitu yenye nimeona pia there are so many people spoken about it, ndio? And I think that is where the interest is coming from. Wacha tuchukue hapo, Rose.
One thing I'm happy about in this administration is that it was on March where the National Infrastructure Fund Bill was passed. And one of the aims of the National Infrastructure Bill was to reduce over-reliance of taking public debt to finance infrastructure. So right now, initially, the money that was obtained was 106 billion. And recently, the president said that right now they have been able to obtain 350 billion. So at least that's a plus. That is one thing that I'm really happy about. Yeah. One of the problems that I've had also is about the odious debt, but I'm glad the panelists are going to talk about it. And also I'd love the panelists to talk about goonism. Yes. Thank
Goons. Wamepanga goons. Thank you, Rose, for that. Maybe tuende kwako Moki.
First of all, I wanted to respond. I wanted to inform Amani. He has been talking about corruption. I wanted to tell him that the Kenya Kwanza government has to some extent fought corruption within its parastatals. The government initiated the e-procurement platform where procurement is now done online, such that such that the government can know whoever got a government tender in what State Department and how the progress has been done. Again, at inception, the Kenya Kwanza government again rolled out the 25,000 civil services on e-citizens, so that people should not have to line up at Huduma centers and other service centers to receive government services. That is a very big step towards curbing corruption in government facilities. Again, on what the government has delivered, on my end, I can say the government has delivered very much on infrastructure. That is, we look at roads, more so in the northeastern region. We have the roads in Mandera, Isiolo, and again in my region in Ukambani, we also have some roads that have been done. Then we have been in opposition for maybe the last 20 years, and nothing has been done since then. That is something to thank the government for. And again, the government promised to have the universal health care that they rolled out the SHA. and SHA has been instrumental in giving us a fairer healthcare financing system compared to NHIF. And what I think the government should focus more on is the digital superhighway. I think the government has been left behind in delivering things to do with digital superhighway, and it being one of the platforms that are going to give a lot of jobs to our Kenyan youth. Yes, that is it.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
Hizo vitu umeshika, huu ni sharp boy, si ndio? Tu clock guys. Hakuna points jamani, anasema nadhani anamaliza, kumbe kuna nyingine kwa. So keep it up bro. Na one of the things which I want to persuade you guys to do is usikatae new information. Kama huku unajua na umejua saa hizi, sasa si unakubali. Pia kuna mtu ambaye anaona tu hii siku anajua, lakini ameinsist mimi, unaona hiyo kitu Mundala aliongelea. So thank you so much Muki. Na it is important, umemention ni GPS, hiyo electronic government procurement, na pia uka-mention the e-citizen ambayo imesaidia sana ku streamline a lot of activities. Si lazima sasa uende pale physically. So I think hizo ni plus. Usikatae ku-mention something positive in there, na saa zingine hata wewe imekusaidia, si ndio? Yes, tuende kwako Cecil, alafu to Rose. Wakili, si ndio? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tony. I think I'll appreciate the government in almost all the sectors, because you know, when the government could only focus on the health sector and leave the agriculture part of it, the roads, you know, the government could only focus on only that, but on our citizens wataanza kulia tena. Now we have hospitals, but the roads are impassable, unaona. But I think the government wamejaribu sana. Yeah, and I'll also say that I'll tell my fellow youths that the leaders we choose shapes our country, but the citizens we become shapes its future. Unaona. So whether you are in the opposition or not, whether you're supporting the government or you're not supporting the government, let's love ourselves, let's support ourselves, because you know the future of our country does not only belong to the politicians, but also to us. We, the unemployed youth, both employed and unemployed youth. Thank you.
Wow. Guys, to clock. Kuna wisdom leo. Yeah, I'm so impressed by the as a host. Hata mimi nafurahia juu nikiuliza swali mnajibu 10 over 10. Nice one. Yes, Wakili, if President William Ruto walks into this room today, you have 5 seconds na yeye utamwambia nini?
Thank you so much. I believe what I'd sincerely tell the president in terms of education and also touch a little bit on the health sector is that, one, we have the CBC, and CBC majorly touches on the youngsters' skills as they grow up. And in as much as they are growing their skills, I feel like there's some huge gap in terms of infrastructure, because we cannot have, like, the CBC cannot continue without infrastructure. You know, these kids, at some point in time, I have a younger sister, atakuja, and then she'll be like, walisema twende na prop, something like, unaona hizi wapishi, the chefs and stuff. The next moment, wanata usijua aliambiwa wajenge sijui, I don't know, something like that. So you find that if you go back to the village, some of these parents, they don't have smartphones. But when it comes to CBC, they're being needed that when you come back with a printout of 1, 2, 3 things. How is this parent going to survive, or how is this kid going to present? Mwalimu alisema we go with this, but mom doesn't have a smartphone. You know, I feel like the government should at least be considerate to some other parts of the country or the region. And another thing, enough labs. You know, there's some of these schools, they don't have enough classrooms or enough labs. As I said before, they're building their skills growing up. Some of these schools, they lack those maybe laboratory, and some of them are sitting down and stuff like that. So I do see a huge gap in terms of that. And when we talk about the health sector, of course, the transition from the NHIF to the SHA, there was some chaos in terms of maybe patients having lack of or not having those services provided to them because of the SHA SHIF NHIF thing. And which is right now majority. We have a huge number of people who have already registered for the SHA, unlike the NHIF. which that I appreciate the president. And at the same time, we also have, I'm from Uganda. So in Siaya, we don't have much of a development, you know, from health to water
that
to
is now
power.
within the county government.
Yes, yes. So yes, it is part of the county government, but still, we're talking about the Kenya Kwanza region. You know, we're talking about the current government. If at all, I am glad right now the level 4 hospital is being built, or almost coming to a completion in Uganda, level 4 hospital. At the same time, we have level 5 hospital being constructed in Siaya town. And that is, I'd say, I'll give an applaud, you know, to the current government in terms of trying to consider some other regions in terms of health sector. And also, if the president would be here right now, I really want him to improve much on the health, and also at least do more in terms of education, while also considering the younger kids growing up, and also to us, the new who are going through the new funding model. And allow me touch a little bit on the new funding model. I really had my sister's side of the story, and you know, when it was brought, when it was established, at first it was declared unlawful by the High Court, because they felt like it was a violation of people's right. Like some people felt discriminated, and at the same time, violation of the Constitution under Article 94, Sub-Article 5, whereby the lawmaking is within the legislature, right? And so majority felt like higher education, like it should be funded by the government, but then that role is being passed to the parents. You get, like now my friend over here, when you are also supporting that, some of the students call off their semesters because of insufficient fees. So I do believe, or I do feel that if the government would be considerate, you know, in terms of at least maybe upgrading the band 5 students tuition fee, you know, or at least reducing it to some level. I'm a law student, she's an engineering student, you know. These are technical courses that requires resources, books, and materials. And you're going through a lot, you know. Thank you so much.
I understand. I know you are going through a lot. It is my prayer that you shall be heard, Cindy. And thank you so much for speaking from the bottom of your heart. Amani, I don't know what you think. From whatever has been said, I really need to hear your side of the story, because you've been eagerly waiting.
Thank you so much. There's no way I can congratulate this government, because it is our taxes on work. So there's no way our taxes can be on work, yet someone slightly improved, then you want to congratulate him. We elected that guy to work, one. He has not even worked to a point that we can congratulate him. Another thing, Tony, my brother, Kiongozi Advice Mundalo, has just said here clearly that the government reduced the cost of unga, which is good, but this is what is called pure manipulation. Because how can he reduce cost of unga and then go further to increase the cost of fuel? This is what we call pure manipulation.
Amani, calm down.
I'm trying to explain. Because on him, he's saying that the government did some work. This is the government of manipulation. You see, fuel is the blood life for our economy. So at the moment you increase this fuel, we have high cost of commodities, we have high transportation costs, we have manufacturing, and even agricultural products. They are very high. So this one will actually, the expenses will actually be passed direct to the consumer or the customer. So that kind of there's that kind of savings that maybe the consumer was saving on unga will directly be lost to these kinds of higher transportation cost, electricity bill. So this is what we call manipulation. Why do you reduce this to increase this?
So who is manipulating?
The president is manipulating Kenyans. And again another thing, Tony, you listen, my friend, you had your time. Another thing, Tony, there's no way we can congratulate this government because it has orthogonally failed. The issue of goons, you've just said that they have just raised it and they are going to talk about it. The issue of goons, there's no way goons can be attacking us even in our rally, Linda Mwananchi rally, and then no any government leader stands firm to condemn this kind of nonsense. And then you want us to congratulate them? Never. Never.
Your point is on my money, and I'm sorry that you are attacked.
Thank you.
No, before you, okay. So.
Yes. First, Amani has said that with the government has lowered the prices of unga and increased the fuel prices. I want to tell Amani that Kenya has a free market economy where prices are controlled by the rules of supply and demand, and the government has no authority to decide on whether it will increase fuel prices or not. Yeah, it is something that is beyond the government. The government only regulates through EPRA. So that point of that the government has increased fuel prices. It is something that has a that is controlled by global markets, not just Kenyan market.
Global Starbucks.
I'd like to respond to her. She said that
no,
not you.
And I respond to Wakili.
Yes, Wakili. She said that projects in Siaya County, some of them have stalled or some of them are not working, right? And it is still the Kenya Kwanza government. I'd like to say that counties are semi-autonomous governments. So the only place where the national government will get in is if they allocate funds and for them to provide oversight. And the national government cannot come in because that will be breaching separation of powers. So they have to govern within themselves. Yes.
Wow. Sit on a clock, my guy. Yani, wisdom ni mingi, si ndio? Yes, Masaki.
Amani, my learned brother from the TU University of Kenyatta. You cannot...
From KU.
Yes, he's from KU. He's learned. Amani, I want to tell you, a sheep cannot have justice when the hyena is the judge. So whenever you are talking here, know that people who are here are commercial activists. So I want to bring this home. I want to ask our panelists. I really have a question that is burning. During the NADCO report that Baba Raila Amolo Odinga and William Ruto had signed, William Ruto had promised that there will be no more killings and abductions in this country. So our panelists should explain to us how comes Ses was killed in a government vehicle. Yeah, do you remember that? Yeah. So I really want them to explain to us, simply because they didn't even answer on Goonism. That is why I'm happy that our sister asked the same. So the point that Amani has talked about, Goonism, is a pregnant point. In Keumbu, you were attacked. Have you ever seen any government official who has come out and talked and condemned about that? Thank you.
Thank you, Masaki, for that question. I don't know whether there are any responses on that side before tukuje huku, because I don't want to leave anybody out aseme ati ayena siji referee. Kuna mtu yote. Yeah, some of you want to be some of you want to be Yeah, because what we have here, by the way, the main reason hata wewe umejipata hapa is because it's an open space for young people to come and highlight or share their views. That is why before you come here to kuambia we only want TUTAMS ama we only want apana, it is as long as you're a young person na umeona current affairs zenye zina take place, you are allowed equal opportunity. Kuna mtu yote namwambia asiongee, hakuna, si ndio? So in case you have anything, you have a question to the panelists, feel free and then they'll respond, si ndio? Lakini ukitaka kuwa mchezaji na pia unataka kuwa referee, sio sasa hizi nini. Yes. Otherwise, thank you so much. Mimi, personally, from my angle, I'm loving the conversation because you people are informed, by the way. The only thing that happens some of the times is that kuna information gaps, ndio. So information Muki akonayo is not the one yenye Amani akonayo. And therefore, we have to harmonize, ndio. Other than that, ni for the benefit of our viewers, pia, kama unaongelea kitu unakuwa na fact, ndio. Lakini kama una fact, mimi kama referee siwezi kusaidia, si ndio? Ni ukweli. Yeah, so at this moment, sijui kama if there's not no other question, nikuje kwa panelist and then to close it. Ama? Asante. Maybe we can start with you, Joanne, and then we can move to advice.
Okay, I will speak to the taxation briefly. I know my colleagues will also just beef it up. We need to understand why governments raise taxes. Why do you think we raise taxes? I'll push it back. Why do you think we should raise tax?
To help us to run the economy of the country.
Yeah, we are supposed to fund. You see all these things you're talking about, education, health, infrastructure, and all that. That's one reason why we raise taxes. Two, we also raise taxes, to just try and breach the inequality gap. That's what Shashi is doing. So that we take money from OTB, who has a lot, and give it to you for the benefit of many more people.
Yeah.
So taxation is not necessarily bad. For me, I think the question should be how that tax is utilized. Yeah, we should not complain about the raising of taxes. If you went to other economies, you'll be surprised at how high a tax they pay. I'll take us back. We are not at that level, but I'll still take us back to the Nordic economies, where, the system works very well. But if you check the tax burden that they have, it's all balanced when it comes to free education, it comes to free healthcare, the infrastructure is working, transportation is working. So we should not stop at, complaining about the tax level, but let's cross and try and establish how this tax is being utilized, So, and also you talked about projects za Uhuru, projects za Ruto. Remember, when you elect them into office, you're part of it, because that's public participation. The reason why Ruto is president today is because a majority of Kenyans agreed with his plan, the UDA plan. And so they gave it a tick and they said, tumekubali na wewe, let's see how we can implement this plan. It becomes part of the whole plan for the country. So we should not continue saying that's Uhuru's plan, that's Ruto's plan. No, it's a plan for Kenya. So what we need to do is not stop there, but now hold government to account on this plan. And it's the reason for this big discussion that we have today. We are talking about the performance. And that's why when a leader comes to seek for your votes, that's part of public participation. You need to be very careful on which leader you're actually bringing into office, because that is part of public participation. And just on public participation and, the complaints that we are currently having on, maybe you feel that whatever the government is doing is not priority. Affordable housing, according to the Constitution, is a right. Decent housing is a right. Healthcare is a right. Water is a right. Education is a right. So those things in that plan are actually things that are enshrined in the Constitution as rights. The government is trying to meet these rights because at some point, someone will go to court and say that, hey, me sina nyumba, I don't have a decent house. Government, you're supposed to provide this decent house for me. So we may look at this affordable housing as a problem now, but pale mbele when there's a generation what? Gani inakuja? Gen Alpha ikikuja nasema mazee mimi nataka nyumba. According to the Constitution, you're supposed to provide me with decent housing. Hizi nyumba tunapiga kelele sahi that he ho will come in handy. So let's be, solution solvers, and also let's see how we can pick societal problems and make a business out of it. The best businesses that have progressed and have grown and made people wealthy are those businesses that strive to solve societal problems. So tusiseme ati hakuna kazi, kuna kazi. Tafuta hiyo mwanya. Shida gani iko hapa kwa society that I can pick and do to get me money? And usifanye peke yako, shikaneni. Come together as Gen Zs. You have different competencies here. Tuko na engineers, we have political scientists, we have lawyers, upcoming lawyers. Kaeni together, and my rallying call is always show up. Always show up. One of you showed up. She spoke to me about an opportunity she wanted. I made a phone call and she's showing up.
Wow.
Just like that, so always just show up, and first impressions matter. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. Tumklapie guys. Wewe uko hapo bado unajiuliza sijui niende, nisiende. Thank you so much for always joining us, Joanne, and for those pieces of advice. I know this is not the last time we are having you. So kama bado pia unahitaji opportunity next time, show up sasa, si ndio? Asante sana. And then right next to her is Advice Mundalo. Please speak to us. Najua unakuja na maukweli mbaya but ni sawa.
Thank you, Tony. When Ndindi Nyoro was speaking in Parliament, the only time I saw him loud is when he was wrong. So most of the time, when you see your volume getting too high, there's a high likelihood that you're actually wrong. So that's what I would want us to begin from. Passion, the moment you're passionate and it accompanies with loudness, be very careful. There's a high chance. That's why my brother says, I said government reduced the price of unga. But those who are listening to me objectively, no, I didn't say that. You see? So don't listen to respond. Sometimes just take your time, listen to understand. Because most of us who are here are all young people. If this country must make progress, then we must be honest with ourselves. Most often, the reason why our country has continued to be in a position where many of us complain is because we get angry before we reason. The moment we get angry, it becomes fodder for politicians. And that's why politicians will always push us towards anger. So that the moment you are angry enough, your decision benefits them, it does not benefit you. And that's why after every election, you again come and get angry again. And we are saying this time round, let us be modest, let us reason. So that when we make decisions, we are making decisions that are also benefiting us. Since politicians make decisions for them, we must also make decisions for ourselves. And most of the time I realize that new information to you can sound like a miracle. But it does not necessarily mean it's new to everybody. People like Kidi and myself have been in this space championing these things. And at one point, by the way, we were just as loud. So it's a step in the right direction. I was listening to a gentleman called Eric Omondi recently on JKL. And he was very loud about Kenya, how one Kenyan is represented by 18 people. And when I was listening to his tone, he was sounding like this is a miracle information. Because the information is new to him, he thought it's new to the world. He was not even aware that there was a Punguza Mizigo initiative. Because at that time, he was doing comedy. So he thinks that the world has arrived now just because he has discovered that there's 18 people representing. Myself, Kidi, and others have fought that thing for the longest. Meaning it's something that has always been there. But again, because it's new information to you, you think it's the solution to the world. When you put together the salaries of all those people, they do not get to 1%.
Thank you.
They don't get to 1% of our GDP. But because it's new information to you, you are believing it's a miracle and the world should stop and listen. So we as the younger generation, for us to canvass a better country, we must start being more objective. And so far we are doing very well. And that's why today, even opposition leaders, when they come to speak, even those ones who don't support government are asking them, wait a minute, what do you have to do? What is it that you want to do for us? These questions were never there before. Before, people, you'd come together, then you amalgamate yourselves, an assembly of tribes, and then you win. Today, Kenyans are refusing. They're asking the questions you're asking. They're asking the questions my younger sister there is asking and saying, what will you do about the university funding model? And don't just tell us it's bad. Tell us how you will navigate it. And so we are heading, in my view, is a step towards the right direction. So we want to urge us that let us do more of that. Do not be lied to become so passionate about the person you are supporting today, in whichever camp you are. Because trust me, your interests to them come third, not even second.
Well.
So just because you are in an omnibus called Linda Mwananchi, so stop believing that solutions are existing because of that. Trust me, it's just another political unit like the rest. And all those leaders have been here. And many of them cannot account for much of what they did. But do you know what they're counting on? Your anger. And there is always something to annoy you, by the way.
Yeah.
There is always something. I told you in 2047 there will be an election in this country. And people who will be your age at that time will still be as mad as you are today. So that is just the reality. If I can comment about Odia's debt that someone had talked about. In my view, and I stand to be wrong, is Odia's debt is just another thing to whip emotions. Because one, our constitution does not recognize anything called odious debt. International law does not recognize odious debt. What it does is that when you have a debt, regardless of whatever the regime borrowed it, you must be able to pay. That is the ground reality. And only 2 countries in the world have been able to survive on odious. That's Cuba and I think Iraq, if I'm not wrong. And even then, when they did not pay their debt, it is not because they refused, it's because it was something that was agreed upon internationally. So when you see a leader spew to you a solution that looks so simple, always ask yourself, how come no one has done it? If really the solutions in this country are as simple as stopping to pay debt, anyone would have done it. And they become popular. All these African governments are struggling with debt. So I always argue that when the solution sounds so simple, please ask yourself, how come nobody has done it? And as I finish about the subject of affordable housing, and my sister talked about why should they pay 4,000 when they were paying 2,000? And that is quite a good argument. But my problem with affordable housing is that most of us who usually have opinions about it and how the slum people should be, most of us have never been to the slum. Most of us don't understand how people in the slum live. But when you get deep into the reality, you'll understand that they pay rent, okay, and pay for toilets as well, and pay for so many other things that you, in your house, they are there. The moment you're in your house, you have water, you have all these things. But for these people, they pay rent, which might be 2,000 or 3,000, and then for every time their child goes to the loo, they have to again chuck 10 shillings, 5 shillings, and then they have to buy water again. And that's why most of us who are saying that the rent is not matching is everyone else of us who is not in the slum, not the ones in the slum. Have you seen them give that argument that we give? They don't, because they know that the solution that they are meeting is phenomenal.
I hope the person who asked that question is listening.
Very, 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 very well. So that is usually the reality. So there is a gentleman I want to send you to on your way out of this place. I'm hoping he's there. There's a gentleman on this gate. I don't know whether you know him, Wesh. There is a gentleman who is a gateman on this gate of this building here. That gentleman is one of the beneficiaries of the affordable housing. He lives in Mukuru and is one of those beneficiaries. And one day I've always wished that we bring him here to give his story.
That would be nice.
Because he is here. Sometimes we do analysis and talk wishful thinking without listening to the stories of the real people who are actually affected. So the truth is that whereas we might have a textbook theory that looks very nice, the practicality on the ground is that those people, when you put them in a house that has water, and one of the things that touched me is during one of those interviews, when one of those people in the houses was being interviewed and they asked that person, it was a man, and he was asked, what is the best thing to you, according to you, about this house that you are in today? And he said the best thing about the house for him is a toilet.
Yeah.
So sometimes the things we take for granted, because sometimes we sit in places of privilege, are very different from the reality of the country. And as I finish, please, no one has asked anyone to congratulate government. No one completely. But when some want to congratulate it, also allow them. Because our problems are very diverse. When someone in Nyanza is very happy that they can see a road, there's another one in Central who roads are so many that they even dry maize on the road. So when they see you happy about a road in Nyanza, they get shocked. So our realities are not the same. So allow those ones who are happy be happy. And allow yourself who is sad to also be sad, because that is the reality of our democracy. Thank you very much.
And maybe just to build on that whole idea of people who have been moved from informal settlements to the affordable housing. I don't know whether you've heard of the Kadogo economy. There's a whole lot of research that has gone around the Kadogo. It's the most expensive economy because they buy things as and when they need them. A spoon of sugar, a little spoon of mafuta ya kupika. When you consolidate that cost, it's more than you spend in a month. So when we look at those people who live in those informal settlements, they spend much more than the rest of us do. So there's a lot of economics that happens around that environment, just like Advice is saying, that we need to take into consideration. On the issue of odious debt, I think I also need to mention, it's a very legal thing. Who decides that debt is odious? Ulijua ilichukuliwa aje? So that is something that you need to establish first. And it's a very legal question because you don't know, just like he says, why is it that nobody has picked it up and dealt with it? You don't know the agreements that people came into before this whole issue of odious debt came up. We are not supporting it, but it's just not something you'll wake up one day and say, we are not paying. What are you opening? You may be opening a can that you don't want to. So it's something that we need to question, yes, but again, understand the process and how it came to.
Asante. Thank you so much for that contribution. Clock, Majama. If you've learned something, Cindy, usikatae kulearn. And thank you so much, Mundalo, because you've answered so many questions at the list. And I know that affordable housing program is so important that it is even captured in the Sustainable Development Goals, under Sustainable Cities and Communities. So, asanteni sana. Right now, I want to bring in Kidi. Kidi, you joined us kama tushaanza, so I'll add you more grace. Nitakuongeza dakika mbili hivi, at least ya kusema jina yako na kujiintroduce for those who may not know you. But feel much welcome, and we hope you'll continue joining us to speak with the Gen Zs.
Hi, Gen Zs. Hi. I am the KD. Yes. Yes, for those who are meeting me for the first time, I work with young people daily under the banner of Interparties Youth Forum, among other platforms where we engaged jointly as young people. I'm a lawyer by training. I have a bias for public policy. And of course, it is a privilege to be at REDRING Media. I was asked to speak on the question of odious debt, but I think Wakili and my brother Advice have mentioned it. So allow me this opportunity to tell you where your country is, where your country is coming from, and where I think we should work jointly to take our country. After we got our independence in 1963, in 1965, we wrote the first economic paper that influenced how development was done in this country. And it was called Seasonal Paper number 10 of 1965, African Socialism and its Application in Kenya. The central thinking of that paper was that Kenya was classified into two categories. One was high potential and others were low potential. What was deemed as high potential was what was along some sections within what was called the lunatic line. You know the lunatic line? The railway line from Mombasa to Kisumu. But then only some sections of that lunatic line were deemed high potential. So it means that government was using taxes that it was collecting from the entire republic, but to put certain services concentrated in certain regions. Today, as we speak, a child born in Narok has got, compared to a child born in Kiambu County, the one born in Narok has got 7 times chances of dying before they turn the age of 3 compared to a child born in Kiambu. Anybody can hazard a guess why that is happening? It is because of the investment in the infrastructure that government has invested in Kiambu County in comparison to Narok. One, a young mother giving birth in Narok is likely not to have the benefit of a midwife, while a mother giving birth in Kiambu can get access to ambulance, the road is good, he would get to a hospital, she would be attended to, and the child would be safe. Secondly is the question of disease burden. If you go to the western side of Nyanza, where I come from a place called Migori, and the entire lakefront, you'd realize that people towards that other side of the world have got a higher disease burden in comparison to the rest of the part of the country. The third thing is a question of opportunity and young people. And I will speak briefly about goonism. Goonism does not just happen. It is because of young people who feel that they are left out and left behind, and the only way they can earn a living is to present themselves to politicians as instruments of violence. So you have young people in 2017 who understands Kikuyu here? None of you. In 2017, when President Kenyatta went to campaign in Central Province, the young people in Central Province told him, Jeshi Tingeno. Meaning, Jeshi hawajafurahia. Kwa nini walikuwa hawajafurahia? Because they felt that the 5 years when President Kenyatta was president, in his first term, he had not served them. But then that, whatever had happened in first term only exacerbated in the second term. So that when you are dealing with Sufuria Revolution in 2023, when you're dealing with Gen Z protest in 2024, when you're dealing with youth protests in 2025, it is because President Ruto is not working. It is because successive governments from 2003 have not made investments that give opportunity to young people. Okay? And permit me to speak about President Kibaki briefly. Everyone says President Kibaki was a performer.
The worst.
Anybody who has done political science here?
Corner.
Good. Good. They will tell you about what is called neoliberal thinking. And what President Kibaki came with is what was called neoliberal thinking, where the sectors he ostensibly deregulated and made reforms in were benefiting a small clique of very privileged few, while the rest of the people in the society were continuing to sink in poverty. Let's begin with the question of real estate. You will be told that there was a real estate explosion under President Kibaki. But that real estate explosion was for the privileged few. In fact, what it achieved was what is called gentrification. Who understands the meaning of gentrification?
Just
When no, it is important that you understand this. Gentrification is when the prices of property are pushed up so much that ordinary people cannot afford it. While that was happening, we used to have what was that parastatal that used to handle matters of affordable, similar to affordable housing?
Housing finance?
Housing finance
Yeah.
corporation. Yeah. It was also abandoned. So it means the government entity responsible for making that ordinary people can access decent and dignified life in the city was abandoned and was not being financed properly. What you see 20 years later is that today, as some of your peers are already finishing school and trying to start families, they can't afford houses, decent houses in this city. They have to go as far as Machakos. They have to go to the extreme ends of Kiambu. They have to go to Kajiado that is where they can live, but still trying to work in Nairobi. So that brings me into what has the president achieved in the last 3 years? Fellow young brothers and sisters. That one, he has brought affordable housing. What affordable housing is seeking to achieve is that one, young people can live in dignity, and two, affordably. So that when you have a 2-bedroom in Mukuru, you can have an opportunity to marry, and when God blesses you with a child, you can raise that child in dignity, without the indignity of kukata nyumba na pazia, and so that the parents are sleeping this side and the children the other side, and now you're adults, you know what would be happening. Secondly, is that the president has made sure that we set the foundation for young people to get employment. We have what is called state sector jobs. Both state sector jobs and private sector accounts for about, I think, is it 5 million jobs?
Yeah, private sector is big.
Yes. In a country of 50 million people, you know, that is a drop in the ocean. The investment the president has done, you start with the Rironi Mau Summit, you go to the SGR, you go to the famous road in the Northern Frontier District, or former Northeastern Province, you go to what he's doing in Narok with the international airport and the tourism sector over there. You go to the affordable, the airports here is opening in places like Migori and the other places. What happens is that is the foundation upon which the private sector can come and rest. I mean, the private investment. That private investment is going to ensure that we open up, we unlock opportunities that were hitherto closed. So that you have got tourists now coming straight to Narok. They don't have to come through Nairobi. And therefore it means when they touch down, ile pesa yote ilikuwa inabaki Nairobi lands in Narok. The Masai is over there. Is there a Masai here? Good. Good. Because you come from there, you know that the mainstay of that economy is cattle keeping. Instead of ng'ombe kukwama hapo Maimayu, you put all that cows in SGR. And it goes all the way to Kenya Meat Commission. It means that a farmer from Narok does not suffer losses kwa sababu ng'ombe imekufa barabarani. What I am saying, fellow young people, is that this country has suffered a leadership crisis. And it has taken the bold leadership of President William Ruto to realize what we can achieve as a country in just 3 years. But we are going to receive a lot of misinformation and disinformation that we must stand guard and protect ourselves against. Because when these other people are coming, recently we had the CS for Treasury reading the budget. What did our friends in the opposition do? They took that budget, copied it, changed a few figures, and presented it as an alternative. That is a testament that the people in the opposition saying they want to challenge President William Ruto have got no idea of what they would do if we were to give them this opportunity. I come here as one person who has worked with young people, you might have heard of Manifesto Yetu. Yes, we walked all over the country, and I know some of the lived experiences of young people. No government is perfect. And this government has made certain missteps, like you also make in your personal lives, or some of your parents have made while running your own households. But I think that to this extent, the president has demonstrated that he has not only the understanding, but also the courage to lead this country forward. As I speak to you, I am converted that I must stand 10 toes behind William Ruto. Those of you who might want to follow me and stand 10 toes and stand 10 toes behind President William Ruto, you are welcome. But as my brother said, it is also okay if you think that there is another outfit that is more intelligent, that is more visionary, that can articulate the issues of this country, including the gentleman we had yesterday saying that members of certain political faction are not welcome in Nyandarua. Because if you start doing political, well, how do I call it? Well, there is a better word. You remember agrarian revolution?
Yes.
What was it we were doing? There is that word.
Those who did
Enclosure, political enclosure. So that we want to have political enclosures where we say
Silos.
Silos.
We want to exist in
Mundano
silos.
can only come here, Kidi can only come here. That is what turbocharges ethnic division. And one of the things this generation must help end is ethnic division.
Yes.
So if you support people who are sympathetic to such an individual, you are encouraging political division. And people, and our young brothers like those ones, because we love you, we will continue talking to you so that you see the light. Thank you.
Amen, amen, amen.
But
thank you. Ati? Okay. Hatujamaliza. Yes. So thank you so much, Kidi, for coming and for giving us that rich history. And you know, when you mentioned that those of us who are convinced and would want to walk with you in the journey, I thought you'd say, let them raise their hands.
I reserved that for the political rallies.
Yeah.
These are smart young people.
True.
I don't want to subject them to such an indignity, but I will plead with you that you join us in walking solidly behind the president.
Amen. Yeah, exactly. And thank you so much. And whenever we listen to Kidi, of course, you always know that you stand coming out with a new vocabulary. So what I've learned today are a few. Kuna hiyo exacerbates. I know you people won't mention, but ukienda into angalia meaning so that next time you also use it. But thank you so much.
Look up the word gentrification.
Gentrification. So unaona siko peke yangu. Gentrification. So thank you so much.
But these are smart kids, as you can see in their faces.
Ni ukweli. Sasa mimi nawajua. You are smart people. Asante sana. So last but not least is Mheshimiwa, please speak to us. And also, I don't know whether Chairman is on standby so that he gives his contribution, even as we wind up.
Yes. Chairman will speak with us after me.
Okay.
I will not speak a lot, but I will just mention a few things that are pending, especially for my good friend here. You know, when you're growing up, there are a lot of things that make you happy. Things like change. And for the longest, this country has been looking for change. Imagine Raila Odinga died looking for change.
Yes.
And I joined him to look for change. And today, Masika and Amani are still looking for change. That is the right thing to do at this stage in life. But people coming after you will also look for change when you will be in charge. Number two, goons. I think there were exhibition of goonism in Keumbu. And normally, these things are a function of local political rivalry. So if the people of Keumbu are fighting over a turf, how does the government come in? It is this candidate versus that candidate. So those people are hired by political aspirants and candidates. And that blame must never go to government. Taxation. I think my colleagues have spoken to it, but I saw the angle you are bringing. And I wish to say that government has only one source of revenue, taxation, and has all manner of public services to deliver. And they will continue delivering them up to cows come home. So we will pay taxes. When you graduate, you will join us in paying taxes. because there's no other way that government can get money to deliver services. And the services the government is delivering cannot be delivered by anybody else. Number 3 is what you have called odious debt. It's a very nice vocabulary that is very attractive, especially to the young people. And I want to speak here on authority, because I have been a member of parliament and chairman of budget, and have dealt with debts. What is being called debts, odious debt, is something that is neither here nor there. What it means by the word odious debt is that the debt is illegitimate. And because government cannot tax people to service every public service they want, they sometimes borrow. When they borrow, my teacher told me, when you find an exam too easy, it means you don't know what you're doing. You must fail the exam. So when you find people giving simple solution to complex problems, they don't know what they're doing. The debts are sovereign debts. Sovereign means that debt is on the head of Kenyans and must be paid by Kenyans through taxation. That does not mean there are no problems with debts. There are problems with debts, and I can cite for you the 3 major ones that I know. Kenya borrowed Kenyan debt to build fertilizer during Kenyatta regime. That debt, during President Uhuru Kenyatta, there was the Eurobond. Those debts remain in our books. They have not done anything. Now, the people who are talking of odious debts, saying those illegitimate debts be declared illegal. It is impossible, because there's a provision for borrowing in the Constitution and in public finance. But when you go to section 2002 of the public finance, you will see personal liability. So if you want to chase people responsible for these debts, get to the people who signed for the Eurobond, get people who signed for Anglo-leasing, get people who signed for the Kenyan debt, and lock them in. You shall have dealt with debts that have been misapplied. Last but not least, housing. You people who are housed, you think there's no housing shortage in this country. President Ruto has only done 250,000 affordable housing. The shortage we have is over 3 million. And the moment you will lose a house, that's when you will appreciate how important it is to have a roof over your head at an affordable rate. And with that, I want to say I'm lucky that we have a very decisive and creative president in the name of President Ruto. The things the president has done are unprecedented. And Masaka, you can shake your head because you have not seen anything. You have just been born. Masaka. Yes. Number 2, I'm very happy that the president has really profiled this country to a level that today we can attract investment in the region of $17 billion by Dangote coming to Mombasa.
Yeah.
That is going to create employment. By the time you graduate, I will ensure you're employed there. And then last is the equity. Like Kidimwaga said, today this country is enjoying equity that is unprecedented. Every part of this country is feeling the government. And that spreads the cake that people who are used to eating it all alone are feeling offended. I think we need President Ruto second term to continue serving the rest of Kenyans. Because the people you think are alternative are worse. So I wish you grow up quickly so that we can give you a chance. With that, I want to call Sherman to say something.
They grow up quickly.
Yes. And you young people, you also have a responsibility to come up with ways of making this country better.
Exactly.
We need a stable country. We need a peaceful country if you are to find jobs. But if we keep on changing leadership like we are changing pants, I mean, we will not get anywhere.
Yes.
So,
Killings.
Sorry?
Killings. And abductions. Which ones? Killings. Which killings? Cess was killed the other week. Extrajudicial killings.
oh, yes.
Yeah.
Abductions in this country.
I will ask the chairman to deal with that so that he has something to say that is relevant to the floor. Chairman, good morning. Good afternoon.
morning.
Good evening. How are you?
I have listened to the group,
Yes.
but only the last few speakers.
Yes.
And I want to make it very quickly because I can see people are growing tired.
No, we are not growing tired. We are here for the long haul. But as you speak to matters that you feel are close to your heart, we have reserved one question that will make you relevant to the floor.
Yes.
Can I call? Maybe this may be louder.
Yes, so I will ask Joanne to call you if her phone is louder. Then you can speak through her phone. But the question is, one of the agencies has been asking, can we comment on the killings that the government, did you say the government? Yes, extrajudicial killing. One of them is the guy who died in Fikirini's car.
Yeah.
So, and of course, overall, we want you to speak about President Ruto at 4.
Just proceed since you have the mic.
Okay.
So you can proceed.
Okay. One thing I have to say, I heard somebody speak there very passionately and say that we should not praise the government because it is using our money. I also don't agree any government now or in future should be praised for using our money. But it is how they use our money that we use to evaluate them, whether we need to re-elect them or send them home. So we must evaluate how they use our money. One thing that he said that shocked me because he looked very educated, that UNGA was reduced to increase fuel. UNGA was reduced in 2023-2024. Fuel increased in 2026. And the fuel increased because the price of the original fuel in the international market increased. Fuel is imported, UNGA is produced here. So UNGA we can manipulate to reduce it by providing subsidized fertilizer and encouraging farming. So you cannot connect those two, they are not related. There is nobody regulating UNGA, there is one regulating fuel. So let the gentleman know he cannot say that UNGA was reduced to increase fuel. That is not possible. They took place 2 years apart, and more so the government has no power on the original price of fuel. Number 2, he talked about the goons attack. I have said times on end that goons do not belong to anyone and anyone can hire them. So if anybody hires them to fight political opponents, he takes personal responsibility. He also talked about President William Ruto said there will be no killings. And he said recently there was a killing in a PSS car. There is no government that kills anybody. But all Kenyans, including the ones that serve in government, can kill. The person who did the killing in the PSS car is already in court. When the president said there would be no more killings, that if you ever do it, I will take you to court and jail you. Because the president cannot provide a watchman for every Kenyan so that a rogue person cannot kill them. So if the rogue person is a policeman, he will be taken to court and jailed. But the president cannot provide security individually for everyone. I also heard him say that no government official has condemned the goonism that took place in Keumbu. I have a record of Dr. Raymond Omolo condemning it, but again, the government is not in the business of condemning. The government is in the business of arresting and prosecuting. And I think a number of people have already been arrested and questioned on such. But as you know, goonism is not a function in the government. Goons exist from time immemorial, and the word goon has been in dictionaries for a very long time. Those goons are hired by individuals, and they must take responsibility. Next was something that I must talk about, the odious debt. And this is what I need to say about it. Odious debt is a legal doctrine. It was proposed a long time ago by a man called Alexander Sack. He was a legal theorist in 1927. And what is it? It is international debt that is incurred by a regime for purposes that are contrary to the interest of the citizens and should not be transferred to the next government. But on two conditions. It should not be transferred to the next government on two conditions. If these conditions are satisfied, one, the population did not benefit. So if you borrow a legal debt and build a bridge which the population is using, that does not qualify as odious debt. Number two, the lender must know that that money is not being used for the interest of the people. That is how it is. But still, even with all that, it is largely believed that this debt is not recognizable in any law. It can only be used to campaign for debt cancellation, so that if somebody sympathizes with you that it don't help the people, they can cancel it, or it is for moral purposes, or for as a political tool to fight a government that borrowed. But I've heard Mheshimiwa Ogindo say that all these debts, he talked about one borrowed during Kenyatta, one during Kibaki, and during Uhuru. In the regime where we are, there is no debt that has been identified as illegal. And I have heard people say that infrastructure development is not development. I want to tell you, a country's development is only identified by the infrastructure it has in health, in sports, in transport, and so on. But finally, and very important, I want to tell you that the opposition in Kenya will never tell you what they intend to do, what is their plan, what is their manifesto. Because if they tell you and their intention is purely to oppose anything the government attempts to do, it means you will catch them, that even in your manifesto, this is there. So you will never hear them tell you that if we remove Ruto, we will do A, B, C, D. Because Ruto may do that and they will be unable to oppose it. And then I heard Mheshimiwa talk about some generalities. People want to talk about change, they want to talk about liberation, they want to talk about democracy, they want to talk about ending dictatorship. Those in propaganda are called glittering generalities that are used to sway the people. Don't listen to them. They are generalities. They mean nothing. They are not evaluatable. They are not measurable. They are just things that say to move you across. And finally, but most important, eloquence is not intelligence. So do not think Sifuna amounts to anything.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think that is well received.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So back to you,
Tony.
And as it goes back to you, Tony, I think that this gentleman is very concerned about this subject of goons. And I think it's important. And my stand has been that the worst thing that can happen to you as a goon is that you can die. Most of those people who are being used as goons are young people. So as a young person, I ask myself, what should I do? Is it better for me to caution my colleague young people to avoid being in that line, or to look for a boogeyman to blame and keep telling people that, you see, it's because of unemployment? As I keep saying that, our young people continue dying. Why can't we then have the honest conversation and tell ourselves goonism is criminality?
It is.
And crime will land you in prison. And if it does not land you in prison, it can even land you in death. Because remember, without sounding like I have any bias for the case on Fikirini and all that, but I ask myself again, what is the function? Why is a PS or anyone given a police officer as a bodyguard and used to carry a gun that has bullets? The truth is that it can go either way. I've suffered goonism just 2 weeks ago in Umoja when I was doing some mobilization, and we had our cars vandalized and all that, and we had to, how we left there is a story of another day. But the reality is that let's tell ourselves, and let's not look for something to make ourselves right for a criminal activity. Let us tell our people that this is crime, and let us not look for something to help them continue with it in the name of we can look for something else to blame. I think it's a better conversation if all of us are alive, whether in a government we love or not, so that we can form the one we want. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we had time for today. Thank you so much to our very eminent panel for your rich insights and for joining us today. Special thanks also to our audience. Tujipigie makofi, mmekuwa top sana. Thank you so much to our productions team from Errol, Nyagol, Morris, Faith. You can also applaud them. Sidio. Asanteni sana. And to you, the viewer who has been watching us since we start this show almost 2 hours ago up to this moment, we thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for more and more of such episodes. We are always here every Saturday from 2:30 p.m. So make sure you join us. And also, it is my hope that the insights you gain from this show shall be able to shape what our country becomes. Indio. Till next time, my name is Tony Blair and I've been your host. This was Face to Face with the Gen Z.
People who want to start, he's sorting business, people who are already doing business by building infrastructure and reducing taxes. He's sorting out issues of unemployment.
That President Ruto is working and people are not seeing, or he's not working and people are seeing. There are only two options here for me. Because if you take a drive randomly in this city, 4-kilometer radius anywhere, you'll find something that the regime is doing.
We cannot all fit in the same opportunities. The government, hata government law iseme leo the youth wote wenye wako unemployed itupe kazi. Kuna wenye watafumble, kuna wenye hata make to reach to those jobs, kuna wenye hata appreciate your kazi.
What the opponents of the president have done is to send many mouths out there to talk ill and negative of the president.
Honorable Ndini Nyoro, in which clause is Mutumba taxes being increased?
Honorable Speaker, I am repeating for the 18th time. I am at no obligation to tell anyone anything other than debating, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, we are debating both the bill, but you're also debating the committee, Honorable Speaker. We cannot hide above and below semantics. Order! Order, Honorable members.
Honorable Speaker, I was saying the guidance you sought from Honorable Ndini Nyoro was on the clause that is taxing Mitumba in the bill or the proposal in the report of the committee that is proposing that. The chair has clarified that. And all that Honorable Ndini Nyoro is doing is now to throw words as the chair and the speaker, because he cannot